a non-profit making online radio station, all staff working to serve you, the listening and viewing public. As we serve, we also see the need to serve those who are not technically savvy, especially the elderly, the shut-ins, and persons with disabilities, to which end we are looking forward to take 2020 vision to another level, of course, with your generous assistance of taking 2020 Vision Radio to the airwaves on the FM frequency. Go to our GoFundMe page, 2020 Vision Radio, and make a donation of which you can afford. Help us to help everyone in this quest. Thank you for what you're about to donate as we look forward to serving you online and in the not too distant future on 2020 Vision FM.
I'm here saying for us to represent for the Nevis Everything Agriculture Show. Big up Bankie, DJ X-Way. You know, so tune in, and if you're on the internet, zoom in. One love, from Nevis Everything Agriculture Show. Peace to the man. Ain't no place like home. Me don't know about you.
It's Everything Agriculture with Bankie and Company, your weekly educational agriculture show on 2020 Vision Radio. Tune in every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. for us to learn, share, and grow together. Call in on WhatsApp at 1-869-669-7312. Using Digicel, call 766-7312, and our landline number is 469-7953. You can call us on the overseas line at 917-460-2187. From farming to livestock to fishing to agro-processing, we talk everything agriculture.
Our farmers and fishermen are our unsung heroes. It's time we honor them in our calypsos. We take them for granted, their sterling contribution. So I come to give them their due recognition.
Yes, good evening. Yes, good evening, and yes, good evening, and it's another Tuesday evening here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. I'm your host Bankie, and right now DJ X is out this evening, so I have my co-host will be with DJ out this evening. So I guess DJ X got a lot of things to do tonight, so we're gonna forgive him. But this evening, DJ O is gonna be working with us.
Busy man, you know.
Yes, definitely.
Enough respect to X-Ray.
Yes. Tonight, I just say, if you're first time listener, everything agriculture is an educational show, trying to promote agriculture in the fullest way and everything possible, whether it's crop cultivation, animal husbandry, poultry, small ruminant, large ruminants, the fishing industry, agro-processing, whatever it is, whether you have a small supermarket, a small snack, you're just selling food, whatever it is, all that is pertaining to agriculture, selling clothes, you have a hardware store, whatever it is, a car you drive, a dealership, everything is agriculture around of us. So this show is to bring agriculture from the bottom and take it up right to the top where it's supposed to be. Going through high school in the early 90s and finishing in the early 90s at the same time, I ain't remember learning nothing about agriculture back in the days when I didn't even know who was Bracha. But I remember playing Bracha at Independence, you understand? And the only thing I couldn't know, I can give you bone in your rice and pepper in your soup. But pertaining to that, reading this book by this gentleman, Mr. Glenroy Blanchett, plus I read some other book when it comes to Washi with Sim Daniel, all that is inside there. It's amazing the kind of history now, what things we've done over the years when it comes to the agricultural sector, when it comes to feeding a lot of different countries, as far as Canada and all those things. We got to see where we went wrong. I think we moved away from agriculture and went into tourism and selling passport business. Mm-hmm. And then somehow along the line, we just forget about everything else. And then COVID-19 come now and then we get stuck. Okay. Still stuck, nobody know what to do, but somehow nobody have that interest to invest in agriculture heavily throughout each Caribbean country in the OACSR. You understand? The Leeward and Windward Islands in a sense like that. So don't know what the real issue is, but we seem to just waiting for the same tourist industry not to try our next, avenue when it comes to whether it's agriculture or the industrial part of it, whatever other sector, but we're not trying anything else. We're just depending on this one thing, like that is our savior, and we call it, what else there? Sliced bread? It seems like tourism is our sliced bread. So I know what we're gonna take for our policymakers to realize agriculture just like any other business. Without that, you're gonna give away lands. You understand? So we really gotta protect our lands. You understand, and find a way to revitalize our economy and get our people moving and working in a sense like that. But this is our 6 month. I was telling earlier, and so this whole of this month, 6 months already. By time fly, you know what I'm saying?
Blessings, yeah.
Yeah, man. So this evening, as usual, we're gonna have an interview by a gentleman who wrote a book, The Truth About Bradshaw, Mr. Glenroy Blanchett, along with a gentleman, Mr. William Doe. This gentleman is 96 years old, and to me, this is gonna be a very informative and educational interview. You understand? Because it's a pleasure for me to speak to these two gentlemen to give me a real history. Cause I learned nothing like this throughout my whole time being in high school. No, if I don't learn it, you ain't gonna learn it either. So I had to go and educate myself in a way and read buy a lot of literature. Cause I like to read especially about knowing who we are as a people and where we have been. And cause if you have to listen to the politics and all those stuff, everybody try to take it personal and not speak about the truth. When it comes to history, you cannot bring history into politics. You must always speak the truth if you're going to write our history. I'm one that person who don't mix up history when it comes to politics. I listen to people over the different radio station, they speak their piece, and I realize it's personal for them. You understand? They try to speak negatively, they don't support this particular party in a sense like that. When it comes to agriculture and your culture itself, you can't mix that. It's not good. You know what I'm saying? It's really not good. We've been polarized enough to the literature and the history that we're taught in school, in a sense, as if to hate ourselves as a race. And we are, you know what I mean, how the history was taught to us is that those other people, those who enslaved our ancestors, like saving them from themselves then. You know what I'm saying? But if you come here as a people for all them years, who don't, with no skill, you could not build all these monuments that still standing around, which means skilled people came on these parts. Engineers, scientists, you know what I'm saying? So I understand that part because man know myself. Because we are gods. You know, when I see a God in our owns. You know what I'm saying? When I see my friend across here, I see a God same because we created the image of God. So a man can't fool me when it comes to that, you know. Who want believe in evolution and the science thing, that's them thing. But when things go bad, they start to bawl, God. You know what I'm saying? I see that many times. So I know within whatever issue they're trying to pull across, we don't work with that. So I just want to say, thanks for the listening audience and viewers who've been supporting the show. Because they've been showing the show a lot of love and greatly appreciate that. And once you guys have time to listen, I'll make my time out, take time out to come and, continue to educate you guys and encourage you guys to plant your food and try to move, agriculture forward in a sense, like, because if you realize ain't nothing happening right now, you know what I'm saying? People still not working after a year of this going on, and I ain't see this thing coming soon. All I've been hearing is vaccine. We're supposed to push healthy food, grow your food, you know what I mean? Build your immune system, whatever it is, but just not one thing, So we really got a lot of work to do. So we're going to get on the phone and we're going to get in contact with Mr. Blanchett and Mr. Doe. And as I say, we're gonna before I get to Mr. Blanchett, I wanted to thank those who participated last week into the show and won their smoothies from KL Blends. Don't forget to go and collect your smoothies. You understand? Also, remember this Friday coming up is the Agro Fest at the Villa. You'll have agriculture. Last year we didn't have the open day, but this we're trying to do. We had one day instead of 2 days usually that took place the last and Friday and Thursday of the month in March. So this Friday coming up, we're going to have the Agro Fest where we'll have different sectors in the department and different people within the community going to be taking part as usual, but you're going to scale down to hopefully 25, 30 people because there's so much restriction in place. It's stickless, but we see how best to go. Hopefully the COVID team work with us at the department because, as I said, nothing keeping, so those who want to come out and support and make a little money here and there where they can to help pay a bill. I just encourage the NEOC, if that's the right term I'm using, to give a little leeway. Because I see people on the beach up and down the place acting a party keeping and this and that. And it's not enforced, so at least if we're trying to do something where people can come out and make a little money at least. We know we don't have no sickness on the island, you understand? We have movies keeping boat on island and boat on this. I didn't realize there's a boat out in the water with one of those things you watch and where they have like a yacht. Yeah, I've been money to get, but then I realize look like somebody with a camera, you know. But they come to me sense now is one of those yachting where you're gonna cruise and they create a show for like the yachting industry. We're going on right in our waters. Yes. Along with the movie that taking place. Also, I mean, the abattoir will be taking part in the AgroFest, the extension itself. I mean, we're not going to have no junker plans to display and stuff like that. We're just going to make what the young guys, them with the young extensions, that they came up with the idea to build a model farm, which was a brilliant idea. So we're going to have it in a plywood, a sheet of plywood 4x8 with an ideal model farm, fencing, electrical wire, plants, a greenhouse, different vibes. So I encourage you guys to come out and look at that. The veterinary section will be out. The abattoir will be out as usual. And Mr. Griffin Gary tell me he's starting to sell 7 o'clock sharp. So be there because there's big promotion going on with the abattoir. I mean, Mr. Gary told me he's going to have all sausages, which include spicy pork breakfast, beef, and chicken will be reduced by 15%. That's a big discount you get in there. So Gary working with you, you know how hard time is. So you'll be getting a 15% discount on spicy pork breakfast, beef, and chicken reduced by 15%. Also, you have a new product, which is a pork line bacon. Also, other stuff will be included. Deli stuff includes smoked beef, deli sliced ham, and pork bacon. So if you want those deli stuff, like smoked beef and deli sliced ham or pork bacon. Also, as I said, the booth will be open 7 a.m. sharp. I mean, the event goes up to 10 o'clock, and if you want stuff on the abattoir, the stuff don't last, so please get there early. You also will include mutton, beef, pork, ground pork, and ground chicken. So we welcome you to come out, support, I mean, the AgroFest, and also you also have the marketing division where you have all your different stuff, fresh vegetables, along with other farmers and those who want the fresh food to eat also. We have usually as IYWBDS, is ITAL, and all those things, and those who selling also plants and vegetables, Chapecom Blossom, German, along you also have Val's Delight will also be taking place along with other vendors and stuff like that. But we're going to get back to all of those early while we get into the show. So just want to big up those in Costa Rica, the U.S. Virgin Islands, the neighboring islands. We have Guadeloupe listening, Martinique, you know what I'm saying? We have Dominica, Trinidad, the whole world, Africa, you know, as far as Asia, and big up the England people up there always listening every Tuesday, and those in the mayor of New York and his family. Enough respect, Atlanta. Big up Sonia, my sister Joy down in Atlanta, and my cousin Sherry Ann down there in Texas. So we're going to get Mr. Branchett on the line and get this interview rolling. All right? So you all work with us. Yes, good evening, Mr. Branchett. How are you doing, sir? And Mr. William Doe? You there? Hello? Mr. Blanchett? Hello? Yes? Can you hear me?
Hi.
How are you doing, sir? Good evening.
Stop.
You can hear me good?
I could hardly hear you.
You can hardly hear me. Is that better? Is that any better?
Hello?
Huh?
Is that any better? I can hear.
We can hear you clearly. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
I'm hearing it, but not well. So.
You're not. I'm hearing you good, but you're not hearing me good.
Alright, we're gonna do something.
You're hearing me well.
Yeah, I'm hearing you now.
Yeah.
Yes. Welcome to Everything Agriculture. Hello?
Still not hearing you well.
You're still not hearing me well.
Not hearing you
I can.
well.
I
It's
can.
very soft. You hearing me properly?
Yes, I'm hearing you very good.
You hear me very good?
Yes.
Oh, then must be your transmission up there. Then.
Yes. So you're still not hearing me good?
Well, we could go ahead and see how we develop.
Okay, I just want to say, I mean, it's a privilege, I mean, being given the opportunity to speak to you, Mr. Doe. I mean, I mean, you see him, so who exactly is Mr. Doe? Mr. Blanchett? Mr. Blanchett?
Hi.
Yes, can you hear me? Can you hear me clearly?
You're very, very faint. I have to put my ear to the phone.
Wow.
I have you on speakerphone, but I can hardly hear you.
And you can hardly hear me. I'm sorry about that. Okay. We're going to work with what we have for now and see how it goes and make adjustment as we go. Mr. Blanchett, I mean...
And you don't want to call a direct line, landline.
You can call it a direct line? Huh?
Hello?
This... Yes. Okay, let me call you back. Give me the telephone number for your direct line. I'll send it to my WhatsApp. Okay? Well, we're going to take a break and then give us a chance. We'll take a break and we'll get back to Mr. Blanchett and Mr. William Doe. Okay?
Because as a teacher, so then, some teachers.
I'm here saying for us to represent for the Nevis Everything Agriculture Show. Big up Bankie, DJ X-Way, you know. So tune in, and if you're on the internet, zoom in. One love, from the Nevis Everything Agriculture Show. Peace to the man. Ain't no place like home. Me don't know about you.
It's Everything Agriculture with Bankie and Company, your weekly educational agriculture show on 2020 Vision Radio. Tune in every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. for us to learn, share and grow together. Call in on WhatsApp at 1-869-669-7312. Using Digicel, call 766-7312 and our landline number is 469-7953. You can call us on the overseas line at 917-460-2187. From farming to livestock to fishing to agro-processing, we talk everything agriculture.
Our farmers and fishermen are our unsung heroes. It's time we honor them in our calypsos. We take them for granted, their sterling contribution. So I come to give them their due recognition. To these ordinary heroes, to them I must tip me hat. Not those who suck in the country and living off the fat. From sun up till sundown, they keep working tirelessly, building this land from the bottom up for the great love of their country. They are not rich and famous or powerful politicians. They are the movers and shakers, yes, feeding our nation. The fishermen who brave dangerous waters, yes, to ensure the nation is fed. Swimming with sharks and barracudas, yes.
Hello? Good evening. Yes. Just a minute.
Nice. Yes, welcome. I mean...
Yes, we're hearing you now. Loud
All
and
right,
clear.
nice, very good. I'm sure the audience, listening audience, will glad to know everything is working out fine right now. So, all right, Mr. Blanchett, Mr. William Doe, I mean, two, I must say, national hero owns. I mean,
Ah, man, William Doe, just ordinary William Doe.
well, you see, you're very modest. That's what I like too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Mr. Doe, I understand you. I mean, how young are you?
95.
Fatty. Mr. Doe, your voice sounds better than mine, more alert. I mean, it's a pleasure, man. 95, wow.
I'll be 96 on the 7th of July.
Wow, 7th of July, lucky number.
Yeah.
I'm the 7th of April, so good
Huh?
vibes. I'm the 7th of April, good numbers.
Yeah.
Number 7. All right,
Yeah.
I mean,
Of
which
July
of July? Yes, I have a sister born July.
1996.
Wow, that's a lot of living right there. You have a lot to tell. Yes. So tonight's show is we're gonna be speaking everything agriculture. I mean, it seems like you're the man who had everything in place and had all the right ideas and pushing exporting food. I was speaking earlier. I mean,
I had no training in agriculture, you know.
and
I
you-
will begin by telling you that.
you
I
had
had
not.
no training in agriculture.
Okay.
I did nature study when I was teaching
Yes.
and read something from books. They put me in some places to work, and anything related to agriculture, which I had to buy book and try to read and try to expose myself and pick up ideas.
Okay.
But I had no agricultural training, nowhere, no time.
Wow. Okay. Before I get to you, let me talk to Mr. Blanchett a little bit. Mr. Blanchett,
Yes.
what encouraged you to write this book, The Truth About Robert L. Blatcher, and especially the part when it comes to the agricultural sector part of it? Because the book is a wonderful book, and it's a literature I think should be throughout every learning institution within the federation. And I think, I mean, even throughout the Caribbean, because it seemed like Mr. Bratcher linked up with the whole Caribbean and a whole. You understand? He seemed like he was that kind of leader. But to the agricultural sector part of it, reading this book and understanding, the land that was taken back, the estates land which was under different hands, and now we get them back under the hands of the people, in a sense like that. And we used to export food to Canada, nuts, onion, all kind of different stuff we can think about. And right now, those places are now feeding us. So so tonight, it's an educational show. You have all kind of people listening who this is going to be a learning experience. So I want you to tell me, and then we're going to go on to Mr. Duo, who is the main highlight of the evening. So what inspired you to write this book about and Mr. Bratcher and the literature? Where you get all the information from?
Well, it was about 3 years of extensive research,
Yes.
interviewing persons who had intimate knowledge of our first national hero,
Okay.
visiting the National Archives and libraries, and so on. But I was initially inspired to write about, such a great human being
Yes.
because of my own personal experiences. Growing up, being indoctrinated in certain political views, being taught at a young age that everything about Robert Blatcher was bad.
Yes.
And after becoming an adult and immersing myself in our local politics, the truth began to reveal itself.
Okay.
And so, it was for me a sort of personal atonement, to right the wrongs that myself and others had perpetrated against this great man.
Yes.
And so the book also documents Robert Bratcher's love for nature, love for agriculture,
Yes.
and evidenced by the changes that took place on not only our political landscape but our agricultural landscape in St. Kitts and Nevis, both St. Kitts and Nevis, I must emphasize.
Yes.
And so we are lucky tonight to have Mr. William Ferdinand Dorr, and Nivision
Yes.
was in the midst of this agricultural revolution that was taking place in St. Kitts and Nevis.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
So Mr. Doe, Mr. William Doe, Mr. Blanchett just said you're from Nevis.
I am from Nevis.
Okay, so can you want to give a history?
You know, I'm Zumbai, Willie Doe, at Low Street.
Of course in the Zumba. I'm from Kodakode, so of course, when a little boy growing up in
Well,
the
that
80s.
is, his father is my brother.
Oh, yeah? Okay, small
Yeah.
world. I used to go down
All
by...
like Irma Johnson, those people there, those are relatives somewhere down in Low Street.
Wow. Small world. So basically, you could say you're Kodakode man then. You basically
Well,
in the street, in the same town
Street.
man. Yes, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
you want me to
Well-
talk on to say?
Well, we're speaking about agriculture in general. I mean, how was the agricultural sector back then when we used to export food? I mean, throughout, different places to Canada. I mean, we just want a brief overview and history of what. Because right now, I mean, the places locked down with the COVID since COVID took place. And prior to that, we've really been importing a lot of our food and really into tourism. So I want to understand why we're just focusing on tourism and not, if we're not investing more in agriculture, what does it take to get agriculture where it back when under your time? How do you see it? So I want you to tell me, what are we doing wrong and what we're doing right then? That is what I want to know. And what will it take to us to get back to that level of feeding ourselves and exporting food and feeding other Caribbean countries?
Well, let me tell you something first.
Yes.
Back to Nevis.
Yes.
You know the Library House?
The Library House?
Yeah.
I can't say. You'll have to expound a little bit.
That's it. That's what the place used to be called, Library House, where they had the headquarters, the agricultural department and electricity department and ice and cold storage and so on.
A power station, you mean? By the power station?
Yeah, it is, Nevis.
The power station? That's what we call the power station, the ice plant?
Maybe that's the power station and so on, no. But originally it was the Library House.
Okay.
Belongs to some English doctor or lawyer called Library. You should go investigate that.
Definitely, I'll have to. Yes. I'm still young, so a lot of things I wouldn't know.
I am taking you back now.
Definitely.
To the 1930s, 1940s.
Please.
Okay?
Yes, continue.
Then
I'm
the
listening.
Director of Agriculture in Nevis, W.I. Howell, who lived at Government Road.
He was the Director of Agriculture?
Well, yes, he was agricultural officer for Nevis.
Yes.
And they had what they used to call the Botanic Station up by the cemetery.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's what they call the cemetery, the Botanic Yard.
Used to be called it, well, they used to be called the Botanic Station.
Yes, okay. Make
and that
sense now.
was under the agricultural department.
Okay, good.
And at that station, they used to grow vegetable seeds for distribution and sale to people who were producing crops.
I got you.
Now, I know about tomatoes and onions because when I was under 10, those were being produced.
Okay.
There was an agreement, a West Indies trade agreement, and this is now from geography. And the Canada used to import vegetables, onions, and tomatoes in the winter months. Mm-hmm. Every fortnight, they had a set of ships, the Lady Boats, the Lady Nelson, the Hawkins, the Drake, the Rodney, and the Somers. And a part of this West Indies Canada trade agreement was that these boats came down from Canada to the United States, down to Guyana, and back up. And every week, one of those boats passed through Nevis. Maybe sometimes more than one.
Every week?
Every week?
Yeah, every week. Well, they were in sequence. The Rodney, the Somers, the Drake, the Hawkins, they come down and go back and forth, take up passengers, bring down cargo and stuff and so on, and take back up produce from the Caribbean.
So, Mr. Doe, the question is, what was a typical farm look like back in those days? Can you talk about in 1930s and 40s?
And people's backyard. I know my grandmother.
Yes.
My grandmother lived at Bath Village.
Okay.
And she lived on about 3 or 4 acres. And she used to plant a lot of tomatoes and a lot of onions.
So,
getting the seeds, the seedlings from the botanic station. And when the onions and the tomatoes came to fruition, you took them to the Library House.
Okay.
Where the government bought them, sorted them, packed them in boxes and so on, cartons, and they were loaded onto those boats, which took them up to Canada in the winter months.
And this going in the 1940s?
Huh?
This going in the 1940s, you said?
Yeah, man, 1930s, 40s. I had an aunt.
That's
in
a modern, that's a
John-
modern time. That's modern time because these things are, that is funny to me. That's crazy. Continue.
I'm telling you what used to happen.
Yes.
My aunt Edna Johnson, who died now,
Mm-hmm.
for Oliver Street. She used to walk in there sorting onions and tomatoes and packing boxes and things and so on. So that's how I know that she used to work there.
I understand.
Another work she used to do there was sorting cotton seeds.
Okay.
When they gin the cotton, you got seeds because the cotton, this Sea Island cotton was a hybrid.
Yes.
And they produce seeds of different kinds. And you had to take out the non-viable Sea Island cotton stuff and sell only Sea Island cotton seeds of the MSI, Montserrat Sea Island cotton strain.
I
They
got
had agricultural station in Antigua,
Uh-huh.
which did some sorting out and did, I believe, some experimentation and so on. That's only for you to research. I don't know exactly what happened with that.
Of course.
Because I wasn't really very involved in that too.
Yes.
It's just growing up and something happening and I see it and I know about it.
Of course, you've been around.
Right?
Yes.
The other big thing that used to happen from Nevis
Mm-hmm.
was the export of fancy molasses, what we used to call sawalala,
Molasses.
made from sugar cane.
Yes.
What wasn't carried to the full process to the crystallization. It was in liquid form, and it was in puncheons, 45-gallon puncheons. And those lady boats used to take up as many as 400-500 puncheons.
Wow.
There was that thing at one time going up.
So what they used to
No.
use that molasses for? For what? Sweet,
Huh?
as a sweetener for their tea?
But I'm coming to you, I'm going to tell you about that.
Yes.
There were 3 places in England where it was done. New River, Hamilton, and Cane Garden. Those 3 places.
King Garden.
Cane Garden.
King Garden. How much estate was running them time? That's what I need to know. Run that time.
Huh?
How much estate was up and running in those times?
Oh, man. Pilot estates, 15, 20, 30.
Where? In Nevis?
In Nevis,
How much you said?
15, 20, 30. Bratcher bought about 10 or 12 of them. When they
15,
came up on
20
the market for sale.
When you say 15, 20 estate running, you mean doing sugar and still farming? What?
People had little plots and they grew sugar.
Farming.
Carried the cane up to these places. They either made Muscovada sugar and they got to carry home or whatever, or it was sold into the establishment and worked into the fancy molasses.
Wow. This is an
So
educational
down
show.
on the waterfront in Charlestown,
Mm-hmm.
you could have as many as 500 puncheons of fancy molasses waiting to be taken up by Canadian national steamships to go to Canada.
So what moved these molasses? What moved these big 45-gallon drums of molasses? And what lift them up?
From where? Move them from where?
From point A to point B to the pier. Where they get from to the pier?
Truck.
Truck.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You continue.
And now, when they went to Canada,
Yes.
I know what use was made of them.
Okay.
There were 2 main uses.
Uh-huh.
One was to make rum,
Okay.
and the other one was to service the Newfoundland fishermen who went down to the Grand Banks of Newfoundland for their cod fishing.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I don't understand that. Molasses and cod fishing. How is that? Go hand
No,
in
no,
hand?
they sweeten the tea or whatever it is they're doing it on. The fancy molasses was because it's a full strength molasses, you know. No sugar has been extracted from that.
I got you. So when they go and see, they use that for using for part of the diet.
Yeah, that.
I understand. Good.
So that was there. And so I know about the shipping of those vegetables,
Yes.
onions and tomatoes in the winter months, and shipping of fancy molasses by hundreds upon tons. And when the boats come down,
Mm-hmm.
they bring saltfish, herring, mackerel, cornmeal, flour. Those are the main things they used to bring now.
So those were trade. They were
The trade.
the trading.
The Canadian, Canada West Indies Trade Agreement. But try to see if you can find out about something in the 1920s.
Okay.
Not before my time.
Yeah.
But, I knew of it, reading about it somewhere.
Yes.
The Canada West Indies Trade Agreement. Canada was always interested in helping the Caribbean,
Okay.
So you remember when you got a federation, it is the Canadian government that gave the federal maple and the federal palm. You remember that?
No, I ain't gonna know what you're talking about. I'm just listening to you. I'm learning. You're educating me, and I'm sure you're educating.
When the West Indies Federation took
Yes.
place, Canada gave 2 boats to the Caribbean, the federal maple and the federal palm. And they used to do Jamaica down to Guyana and back. They had steerage rate passages cheap for people and better accommodation, and they transported cargo and so on back and forth between the islands.
I understand. Nice.
And that, you don't have nothing like that now. Well, you got some school, small sloops and so on.
Yes.
But that was a sophisticated thing. We had people from Nevis and Syndicates who were officers on those boats, got training.
Yes. Nice.
Okay?
Yes.
So, I go back that I tell you that there are roots in Nevis
Mm-hmm.
of agriculture being done for export,
Yes.
bringing in foreign currency. Right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, a number of estates in Nevis, Potworks, Cahoods, Joneses, there are a number of small estates, Prospect, Hard Times, Potworks, New River, and all those different estates, owned by people who, like Insingates,
Mm-hmm.
was estate owners,
Yes.
and use them for their production of whatever they want to produce. Because at one time they used to produce cane
Mhm.
and ship the cane from Nevis to St. of the sugar factory.
I understand.
Trucks used to carry the cane into Charlestown, and they used to be boated from Charlestown to the factory paints in Kitts. And people used to grow cane and sell the cane.
So
H.F. Wildy and Company Limited, which later became the Lil Warby and Company Limited,
That's
was
a-
the company which did the cane stuff. I know that.
that's what all those companies are around here.
Yeah, sure.
What is this?
Well, H.F. Wildy was the man you all should research. Hugh Franz Wildy. He's the man who owns Stony Grove Estate and built the great house up there.
Up where? Where?
Stony Grove Estate.
And where you said the house was?
The house was on Stony Grove Estate. H.F. Wildy. Hugh Franz Wildy. He lived there. And he had this business in Charles, in Bastia, servicing mainly the Harrison liners coming out of England to St. Kitts and Nevis. They used to come into Nevis and go into St. Kitts. Right? And Willie used to come to St. Kitts to his office in the morning and come back up by his lunch in the afternoon.
Uh-huh.
Willie was the first man who had much 2 or 3 cars in Nevis. He had a private, I think the Stony Grove house had much in nearly 100 doors and windows also. That's what I heard when I was a small boy.
I wonder if this is the house up in Brazil. The in the end this big, which one the owns the.
Boy, may know what they know, right?
Or
But,
in the back
but
there?
I
Yes.
am telling you about a small boy what I heard.
The estate house. Can you have a lot of windows in it?
Willie was a man who used to go to England on furlough
Yes.
every year. 2-3 years. in the winter months, 2 or 3 months, in the winter months.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to have a big portmanteau. I had an aunt who used to work with them, and I hear the word portmanteau. The hell of a big trunk. And he used to give away all the clothes before he went up and come away a new stock.
Or you call it trunk a portmanteau.
Yeah, a portmanteau, a big trunk. And he had cars, and he also had stables. He had 3 or 4 horses. And he had a groom looking after his horses. And he had 2 or 3 cars.
Wow.
And he had a lighter, a boat, a launch, which used to go from Nevis to St. Kitts, take him down in the morning to work. I think they have to take some passengers too. And he'd come back up in the afternoon. Never lived in St. Kitts, but he lived at Stony Grove in Nevis.
Yes.
But his business, H&F Wildy and Company Limited, was established in Bathia. And he was the main shipping agent for the ships out of England.
I
And he was
understand.
such a wealthy man, I tell you. He used to go to England every year for 2 or 3 months for his furlough.
Mhm.
He had holidays like you. He had furlough. Okay?
Yes.
All right. So now let's come back to St. to be me now at St. Kitts.
Mm-hmm.
I used to teach.
Okay.
Then I became inspector of schools.
All right.
Then, for whatever reason, they don't want me in there. And I went to the labor department.
Mm-hmm.
And I was labor commissioner for a couple of years.
So what was you teaching then? What were you teaching then?
Huh?
What were you teaching at that time? Just have a history of what you used to teach at the time and the era.
All right. I started at the age of 12
You started
at
teaching
the
at 12.
Charlestown Boys School as a pupil teacher. Right?
Yes.
I had got already 2 Standard 7 certificates. The Standard 7 was the top class in the school.
Okay.
And I was to stay in school till at 16 because the Education Act said they had compulsory education till 16.
Yes.
So I would have had 4 more years getting the Standard 7.
Okay.
Going over the same work year after year. Get
Really?
it?
and you done pass since 12.
They done pass, yeah, the 2 times.
Wow.
And now, I'm lucky.
No, you're also doing something. You're doing something special then.
No, man. But I lucky
No.
in that a pupil teacher, whether died or left or didn't pass and drop out.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted a pupil teacher. So they take me on to teach.
Okay.
But the princely sum of $1.20 a month.
$1.20 a month.
$1.20 a month.
So
And when I went to the treasury to collect the $1.20, I had to put on a 2 cents a penny stamp. So I really got $1.18 for 6 months.
So what was $1.20? What that could have bought in those times? What year was that? In the 40s, you said?
1938, 9, around about there.
So what could you buy with $1.20?
$1.20 couldn't do too much, but prices of goods are all over much lower. Well, let me give you an idea.
Yes.
There's a fellow called C.A. Halbert from Bath Village. You ever heard of him?
No. Okay.
The library in St. Kitts is the C.A. Halbert Library. That's named it after him.
Yes.
Because Halbert grew up in Charlestown, working for S.E. Pimenta at a place it was called the Estates Depot. I suppose they supply fork and hoe and all
Okay.
them kind of things to all the estates and so on around the country.
Yes.
I don't know, right?
Yes.
But Pimentas wanted to open an establishment in St. Kitts to do some kind of shipping in Deep Bay.
Okay.
And Halbert was sent down from Nevis to go to Deep Bay to run this thing. Okay?
Yes.
I don't know all what happened with Halbert and so on down there, but I know that.
Mr. Doe,
Yeah.
Hold a minute there. You're giving out a whole heap of information. It seems like Mr. Branch, you're going to have to write a book about you, because a memoir, because the amount of literature you have, your living library. You understand? An encyclopedia. So what I want to do, since this was started, I want to ask one or two questions for the listening audience so they can win something. So I'm going to throw the question to the listening audience and our viewers. I mean, to answer the question. The question is, who was the first director of agriculture in Nevis? And anyone who win this question going to win a bunch of silk banana. So, Mr. Doe, continue. The telephone numbers are 469-7953, 669-7312, and the overseas line are 1917-460-2187. Are those on the WhatsApp, but we can't. Yeah, you can see the screen now.
No, you can't.
Okay, but so those are the telephone numbers, because in studio we can't really see the screen for some technical difficulties. So anyone who can call in, and who is the first director back in the 30s, as Mr. Doe said, win a bunch of silk banana. We're going to give away 4 giveaways. We're going to give away 2 bunches of silk bananas, a pumpkin, and a bottle of Marby. So Mr. Doe, continue.
At that time, around about the 30s, 40s,
Yes.
Director of Agriculture in Nevis was W.I. Hoyle, a fellow who lived on Government Road,
Yes.
on the left-hand side going up, before you reach the Jews burial ground. He had
Okay.
a son, Irving Howell, who was Commander Defense Forces in his later, and assistant to the administrator at before he died.
Okay.
You know the people I'm talking about?
I know the family. I know the Howell family, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes, I know the Howell family. Yeah.
Okay, well, that man, Howell,
Yes.
he had been to the Imperial College of Tropical Agriculture in Trinidad,
Okay, I got you.
and he was Director of Agriculture for Nevis.
Yes.
I don't know what was happening in Singapore because, I just there in Nevis and not too much communication.
Yes.
And I don't know what's going on, but I know about Howell. And I know that Howell was responsible for the Sea Island cotton selection and ginning and all them things. And I know Howell was also responsible for the shipment of tomatoes and onions to the Canadian market in the winter months.
And along those time, you was a teacher at the Charleston Boys School, you said?
No, Charlton Boys
Boys,
School.
yes, the boys' school. And that was the same place by the Methodist Church?
That's right, yes.
Okay, all right. Continue.
So I taught there for a little while,
Yes.
right? Sit in the examination where I had to sit and down. And I did it, to be frank, I did it very well in those examinations.
Uh-huh.
The examinations do you cover teachers from pupil teachers from Dominica, because Dominica was then part of the Leeward Islands. Dominica, Antigua, Barbuda, Montserrat, St. Kitts, Nevis, Anguilla, and Tortola. So hundreds of pupil teachers
Yes.
in all them islands. And I used to come first in the examinations.
Okay.
So I was kind of half bright like,
Yes.
Okay. Well, after a while, by the time I was 20, 1945,
Yes.
they moved me from there to New River, where they had built a new school, to be in charge of the teacher in charge of the junior school at New River.
Okay. Mr. Doe, 1 minute, Mr. Doe. I mean, we seem to have a winner who when the first answer was asking who was the first director of agriculture, and you have
I don't know, but I know about Howell is the first one I know about.
Yes, we have Rasta Gal Davis, Mr. Howell. So Rasta Gal Davis, give me a call sometime tomorrow, and I'll get you a bunch of silk banana. Okay? Continue,
Okay.
Mr. Doe. Very good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, after the New River situation,
Yes.
I went to Brown Hill, in charge of the Brown Hill School.
Mhm. Okay.
And from there, I went to West End Anguilla, in charge of the West End School. And from there, back to Nevis to the Ginger and Boys School in charge.
I didn't know
I got
Ginger had a
in
boys school. I didn't know
1953.
Ginger had a boys school. First time I hear that.
Okay?
So where was the Ginger and boys school? I never hear Ginger had a boys school.
Well, there is a boys school and a girls school up there before they had a high school and junior school.
Okay.
You see, the education in these parts was to a great extent, sponsored by the Methodists and the Anglicans, to a lesser extent, Moravians and Roman Catholics.
Okay.
So most of the schools in Nevis
Yes.
were built by the churches.
I understand now. Makes sense. I understand now. Makes
The
sense what you're
government
saying.
only took over the education up in primary schools, I think, was in 1970. I could be not quite right with this, but it's around about that time, around about 1917.
So the education system was controlled by the church.
Yeah?
Mr. Blanchett, you're going to have to keep Mr. Duan have a memoir with all this knowledge. I never know all these things. And to show the audience
When
is
the
in wow.
church used to do this for us education, there's a penny school, you pay a penny a week to go. You know about that?
A penny a week?
Yeah, you come and you.
I don't know what a penny. I don't know what a penny
It's
look
a
like.
penny.
What a penny look like? I don't know what a penny look like.
A penny is 2 cents.
2 cents.
2 cents. Well, how big that was
Yeah,
back in the
2 cents.
days?
Penny, hear me.
To buy a bread.
Wow.
Yeah, hear me.
I'm just listening now. As I said, I can't relate to the error that you're speaking about. So I mean,
I know it's very difficult because we passed that couple far forward.
yes.
Yeah. So after that, I came to the Bastille Boys School in St. Kitts.
And how old are you now? Well, in teaching, how much time done pass?
Huh?
How much time done pass? Now you're in St. Kitts now. Family went to Gingerland Bio School, moved to the next, and can you see me moving around now? You're in St. Kitts teaching now. So how what
When
age are you?
I came to the Bastille Boys School in St. Kitts.
Yes.
From then I went to become inspector of schools for St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla, all the primary schools.
Yeah, but what age were you then?
29.
Okay. You've grown up now from a 12-year-old teacher to a grown man now. Some time has passed.
And I spent about 7 years in that.
Okay, nice.
And after that, they transferred me to the Labor Department, sent me to England to do industrial relations.
Mm-hmm.
And I came back, I was Labor Commissioner for a couple of years.
Okay.
And while I was Labor Commissioner, I was supervisor of elections for St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, you picture you need us one be in the park with the national
I
heroes.
went-
Tillyman
when I
said,
moved
Tillyman
from
said
that,
you need
they
to write
moved me
a
to
book
the
about it.
Ministry of Communications, Works, Utilities, Posts, and Telegraphs as the permanent secretary. I spent 1 year there.
Really?
And from there, they moved me to the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands, Housing, and Labor. I spent 2 years there.
All right. So let's. So, what
And
were you
then when
responsible
the
for?
sugar industry started to mash up,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted the sugar industry rescue operation, CSIRO, I was seconded to be the chief executive officer of that combine,
Okay. So,
looking after about 15 to 16,000 acres of sugar and other lands in St. Kitts,
so what?
which before then
Mhm.
were controlled by about 48 separate estates.
Wow. So, but when you be in charge of all this within the agricultural sector now, and you had any training within the agricultural sector? I mean, so how was that
They had no
transition?
training, that's what I tell you, you know.
Yes. So how was that transition you to into a sector that you? So how do you overcome that?
Let me tell you,
Yes.
because you might not know this about me. I was a voluminous reader.
Okay. All right. You like to
Okay.
you like to
That's
read.
number one.
All right.
And
You
number
self-taught.
two, while I was at the government training college in Trinidad in
Yes.
1950, Eric Eustace Williams ran a course called Sugar in the Caribbean
Okay.
for the extramural department of the University of the West Indies. And I took that course
Oh, nice.
on my own, privately.
Of
No
course.
government sponsoring nothing. I paid for it
Yes.
while I'm in the teacher training college.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
So I pick up a lot of information about sugar, and so because naturally St. Kitts and Nevis figured, and I know about making sour lala and fancy molasses in Nevis and so on, and to a certain extent, the sugar strike and so on, and as you hear the information, read in the paper, general news.
Yes.
So I pick up all the way along. And when I became labor commissioner, no, the bulk of laborers in St. Kitts were in the sugar industry,
Okay.
about 3,000-4,000. So all kinds of problems, strike, payment conditions of health and all that kind of thing and so on, were in the lap of the Department of Labor. Because the Labor Commissioner looked after places where people were working, used to work,
Yes.
or likely to work thereafter.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes,
So-
yes. Continue.
That is how that was. So and then when I got in this sugar industry rescue operation now, I started to buy books from the University of Queensland, the production of sugarcane, University of Hawaii, sugar, growth of sugar, and I'm guiding it also. I try to put myself in a position where I was not totally devoid of information about the industry.
Yes.
Right? And then the British government gave some assistance in sending an agricultural manager, a personnel training manager, an agricultural engineer, and I think one area manager
Okay.
to give us assistance. Okay? Right. There was a time when St. Kitts used to produce 56,000 tons of sugar. They had 16, 17, 18,000 acres of the cane. Cane going right up to the forest belt, 2,000 feet up the mountain slope.
So where the people used to live?
A lot of them used to live in the guts and in the estate yard. The Central Housing and Planning Authority was an institution which grew out of the trade unions' advocacy for its workers, and that acquired plots of land, laid them out, put in water, electricity, and telephone lines, and sold the plots and even built houses.
You
They built at Boardrock,
You said telephone.
Connery,
You said telephone
Tehran,
lines.
Lodge, Otleys, Molyneux, Mansion, Parsons, Deep Bay, St. Paul's, Newton Ground, Sandy Point, Burchilds, Old Road, Middle Island, Trinity, and in Bathia. So a lot of the housing stock in St. Kitts
Yes.
started with the advocacy of the Labour government under Robert Bradshaw and Joseph N. France from Fountain, McCutton. Right?
Oh, Mr. France was from Nevis. Fountain.
Yeah, Fountain, yeah, Joseph N. France. He got relatives up there now.
Okay. So, continue.
Yeah. So, well,
So it seems like Sink is made up. Sink is heroes. Them is from Nevis. I mean, I don't understand how come we don't have no statue in Nevis. I don't understand no statues in Nevis.
That's it, government road.
So I mean, we have to move
Remember
from
your
this.
name, but he tell me that's a monk of government road. Guaranteed in Nevis.
I got you. Nice.
And a fellow like Libud, Jim D. Libud, who used to teach in Gingerland, came down, joined the union, and helped to organize, went up to the federal government with Bradshaw when he went up there, and so on. So Nevis has played a strong part, a big hand in this thing, because I think it's Nevis that pick up people from all around, you know. So when they were telling me they're going to break away and so on, that used to so much annoy me.
I understand. Definitely.
Because 1 year, they had a census here. And I did enumeration, Westbourne Street, Bay Road, College Street, Keon Street. I enumerated something about 600 and something people. And more than half of them were either Nivision or had Nivision parents.
Wow. So
There are segments in St. Kitts now where the preponderance of vision-oriented people. Where they catch fish, where they grow vegetables up in the hills, like up in Monkey Hill, and like up in Philippines, and up in Upper St. Paul's,
Yes.
and down at Rothschilds by the Bay, and Newtown by the Bay Road and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And in Davis names echo through there. Powell, Jones, Chapman, Henderson, Byron, Doe, Williams. They scatter all over the place. Okay?
Yes.
So they intertwined.
I got you. So they came
Okay.
on to work.
Yeah.
They came on to work in the sugar industry.
Yeah, some of them. Some used to come down and work in sugar industry and cut cane and then go back maybe after the cane cutting season.
So those
Some
time
came
there,
and work-
so
some came work in the industry and stay here.
yes, but I'm saying those time there, what happened to Nevis when it comes to the agricultural sector? The sugar was not going on still. What was going on?
Some sugar was growing.
Yeah.
And diversified agriculture. They had a lot of small stock.
Okay.
Sheep and goat and so
Okay.
on. And donkeys. Donkeys and mules. People used to come from Bankie and Guadeloupe to buy the donkeys and mules. So they used to eat them.
Really?
Yeah.
And I want to understand. So in Nevis, when
Yeah.
the farms of them, you said what? 3 acres, small farms.
Well, that is an outgrowth of Bratcher. When Bratcher bought the estates for the government of St. Kitts Nevis, those places, he made certain 97 where a fellow to study to come back to manage one of them. He was the agricultural officer.
Uh-huh.
Okay? And the estate lands were cut up in parcels of about 3.5, 5 acres.
Okay.
And rented out to pen and paper. My figure is £3.15 a year. And the people grew crops, food crops, and sugar cane, and were assisted and advised by the government trained agricultural officers.
Yes.
And they had them all around the country.
So it was well organized then, back then.
Oh, it was well organized. Bradger moved the Department of Agriculture from St. Kitts to Nevis
Really?
headquarters and put a man up there called Croucher. I remember that name, Croucher. Croucher was the director of agriculture. He lived in Nevis.
Croucher.
They had a marketing officer, LMF Paris of Nevis, lived there. And I remember they got an agricultural engineer, a fellow called Joe from Jamaica. And one of his big contributions to Nevis was he brought in a rock picking machine, taking out stones and so on out of fields and so on to make greater agricultural land.
Okay.
You know about that?
No, I don't. 99% of everything you're speaking about, I don't have a clue. You know, that's why I have to get Mr. Blanchett to get all these things recorded and have a book about the
I
history.
am telling you about
Yes.
what I do in my normal experience of life.
Of course.
Okay?
Yes.
But Bratcher he says, think he's got agriculture, they got sugar cane and stuff, they got this. Leave him alone there. Can't have the head of the department of agriculture and things when Nevis want advice and certain things. So he moved the headquarters of the director of agriculture to Nevis. And they had an agricultural engineer, first one I ever heard of in these parts, in Nevis, and a marketing officer in Nevis. They never had a marketing officer in St. Kitts.
So how that used to work then? So with the St. Kitts farmers, then how that used to work? I'm trying to understand it.
St. Kitts farmers, they had their farmers, because nearly all the land
Yes.
was in sugar.
I got you. So Nevis was doing
And
planting it. I
sometimes
got you.
when they give a fellow 2 acres or 3 acres and he clean it up good and so on, the state come and take it away from him and gain it.
Okay.
That was a common massage.
I understand. So Nevis will grow mostly the food and stuff like that, and then St. Kitts go the sugar
And they
cane.
grew. Well, I can tell you what something that happened. Put down this date, 1956,
Yes.
because in that year, Robert Bratcher got established the Food production ordinance saying that all these estates, I think much for every 100 acres of cane, you have to plant 5 acres of other crops, vegetables and that. Because they were producing yam and potato and kanya and dasheen and banana and plantain and breadfruit and everything. But breadfruit is going in, it got wild.
Yes.
You know, but the other foods, we were importing cornmeal and flour and rice and all them kind of things and stuff from North America. And vegetables from other Caribbean islands.
Yes, and this
and he not only did that, he put a food production officer on the Department of Agriculture staff to coordinate the activities of the people in the estates, the production of food. And I could tell you, I live here.
Yes.
And I could tell you what I saw. Those things were honored in the breach. I know one place where they planted up about 5 or 8 or 10 acres of pigeon peas, because that was their contribution in the food production.
Yes.
People goat and sheep and start going there, they eat them now. So we get no pigeon peas from there. And then the estate plow it up, plant cane, because they had carried out the responsibility to plant 10 acres of food crops.
I understand.
But I don't know what happened in all the other parts of the country, but I can imagine similar things happened, right? At that time I was teaching in Bankie, so I wasn't very far from there. So I saw those things were happening and saw it, part of my dormant experience.
Yes. But as the agriculture, when you were in charge of the agriculture sector, what were some of the things that you've done when it comes to improve the agricultural sector in
Oh, well,
yes.
when I was charged with the responsibility of reviving the sugar industry, Sugar Industry Rescue Operation, SIRO, 1972 to 1975, 3 years. I read up all the background information, including the information saying that the estate which had the land had a responsibility to provide food. And I started the planting of peanuts, 1 acre, 3 acres, 10 acres, 30 acres, 100 acres, 300 acres, up to 600 acres
of peanuts. So,
and the best export I had from that was a 250,000 pound order for peanuts, which was shipped from Motosinke for the production. I planted up 15 acres of bananas down at Wingfield and interplanted them with pumpkins and watermelons.
Really?
I planted on the 12 subdivisions of SIRO in rotation. Each area successively planted 5 acres of sweet potatoes every month. So January 5 of them one place, February 5 acres on another place.
Every month.
5 acres. So there was always sweet potato.
Every month.
Okay?
Mr. Doe.
Apart from that, on the road to Frigate Bay,
yes,
I identified an area where we could do truck farming. And we were producing eggplant, watermelons, cantaloupes, carrots, string beans, cabbages, and all that kind of thing along there, with some assistance from the Canadian government. I established 25 acres of coffee in the upper levels of Phillips's. I established 50 acres of fruit crops down at Wingfield, 10 acres of lime, 10 acres of orange, 10 acres of grapefruit, 10 acres of Julie mango, and 10 acres of avocado.
Mr. Doe, you're going too fast, man. You won't left me. I can't, you're 95 years old, but I can't keep up. You're running too fast. You have to work with me. You're going too fast.
Yeah.
You're 95 years young, so I'm half your age, and I can't keep up. You've been working better than me. With all these numbers you call me confused. We have to back up this thing here, Mr. Doe. Work with me. You said 25 acres of coffee. So what was it? So where the coffee was sold? I didn't know we used to go coffee. 25 acres of coffee, 50
Well, I was fired by the government in 1980 when this thing had just started.
Yes.
I had got assistance from the Canadian government to the tune of $180,000 to put down the 25 acres of coffee at Upper Phillipsits.
Okay.
The coffee that was planted was Blue Mountain coffee. I couldn't get the seeds in Jamaica. So I got a friend of mine in Jamaica who works in agriculture to buy the seeds for me.
Okay.
I think it must be 5 bags of coffee seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And to put them on a plane, a Cubana Airlines plane from Jamaica to Barbados.
Yes.
And I got a friend in Barbados to receive them and to put them on a BWIA plane to Antigua.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent a member of my staff from here to overnight in Antigua and collect the 5 bags of coffee seeds, bring them down.
So,
and we established a nursery over at Molyneux and planted all the 25 acres up there.
So,
and the next thing I did with that 25 acres, because coffee will take 5 years to mature, coming to first bearing.
Yes.
I got planting from Dominica and ring the 25-acre plot with planting and interplanting the coffee thing with watermelon, cantaloupe, and cucumbers.
So where all this food used to go? Who consume all this food?
Buy them. People think it's buy them. They thief some and they buy some. I began working on pineapples and we reached the stage where we had 25 acres of pineapples at Molyneux and 20 acres of pineapples at Belmont.
That's
at Belmont, we had the red Spanish, the Española Roja, and at Molyneux, we had the Antigua Black. Right? To get the Antigua Black established in Antigua, I got the Venezuelan government to give me 30,000 pineapple suckers and put them in a Venezuelan plane shipped to Singits. And when they came, I sent 6,000 of the suckers to Nevis.
Wow.
And kept 24,000 in Singits. Had organized the planting. I don't know what they did with them in Nevis.
So, where you get this pineapple from? All these suckers from?
Venezuela.
Venezuela?
Yeah. Colonel Santos Guanipa Mora, the Coordinator General of Venezuelan Assistance to the Caribbean, organized that for me. Free. And you know why? I'll tell you why. When I was Chief Executive Officer of Cairo and NACO, I was coming down to my office one morning, and I saw a white man and 2 white ladies walking down, looking like the lost.
Okay.
And I stopped, and I asked them if they were foreigners and if they had a problem. They told me they were Venezuelans. They had come here to a conference at the Royal Singkits Hotel.
Yes.
And they were due to go back to Venezuela the following day. But when they came from Venezuela, they came by a plane. Up, down. Mr. Singkits, no Trinidad. Up, down. Singkits, no Barbados. Up, down. Grenada. Up, down Santa Lucia. Up, down Antigua. Up, down, and they resink it. And they didn't want to go back so. So I said, will the 3 of you come up to my office and I'll see if I can give you assistance. Yes. I'm not working then for the government. I'm working for Sugar Energy Rescue Operation.
Yes.
This is my business. And they come to me.
Of course, but you're a good man, so you want to help.
So when they came up, I said, first of all, I could tell you a way in which you could get back to Venezuela easy. You fly by Caribbean from here through St. Croix to Puerto Rico in the morning. And you take Panam in the evening down to Maiquetía in Venezuela. They said, that would be very good. I said, but do you have U.S. visas? No, they don't have. I said, all right. You are Coordinator General of Venezuelan Assistance here. Talk to your foreign minister and let your foreign minister know, talk to the consul in Barbados and let them give authority for the people to travel. So that was done. And in a matter of like about an hour or so,
yes,
I was authorized to book their passages.
Nice, nice.
Well, I booked their passages, and they went into Puerto Rico to St. Croix, and they got visa for the day. They spent a grand day patrolling all over and put San Juan and so on. I went down the night, reached about 10:30, and they called me to tell me how great the time they had and how happy and so on.
That's
It
good.
was for the assistance.
Very well.
So
Very
later, when I wanted something and I asked him, he organized a plane load of pineapples to cost me Venezuela for me. For none.
Wow.
Otherwise, I would have, doubt I would have been able to get them.
Yes.
Okay?
Mr.
So with the contacts you make,
Yes.
and the assistance you give to people,
Definitely.
give you assistance to get your work done.
Yes.
For example, my work in the sugar industry, when I look at it, and I study what had to be done, and I work out, we ain't got money to pay people to do these things. I said, let's try to get some food. So I got in touch with the World Food Program.
Okay.
And in coordination with them, I got 6 months supply of flour and mackerel, $6 million worth of food, 10 pounds of flour each week to each worker in the sugar industry,
Wow.
and 14 of mackerel each week to each worker in the sugar industry. And when the government took it over, they started to share to workers in the port, workers in the shop, and people in Nevis. That's all I want. Okay? But I didn't get any of that. I wasn't in it. Right?
Yes.
I was trying to see if I could get people on my right side to help me to advance the sugar industry and its operation.
So you're looking out for the workers, basically, in a
Workers,
sense. Like
that's
that.
what I was doing.
Yes.
Because the pay was small.
Of course, definitely. So you're trying to improve the workers' life in a sense like that to get them better living,
Well, I did
eating
several
healthy at
things
least.
to them. I gave the estates authority to plow up to 2 acres of land up against the forest belt for them if they want to plant provisions.
Okay.
And I gave permission for the tractors to carry up 400-gallon drums of water to water the animals up there. Where they need to go find a donkey with 2 buckets and that.
I got you.
And I allow them to use land for $5 a year per acre to plant land up in the forest belt, just below the forest belt and above the sugar limits. Right? So I was always trying to do things to help the workers.
Yes.
So the workers were beholden to me to a certain extent because I was, even, they didn't ask me for them things. I work with those are things which you could probably get organized if you went about them in the proper way.
Yes.
I mean, for example, when we got the 30,000 pineapple suckers, and we planted pineapples in things.
So how...
Each pineapple plant used 10 suckers. What we did is to write up a brochure saying how to cultivate the land for pineapples, what to plant, when to plant, how to fertilize, and all that kind of thing. And anybody working in any of the states who want 15, 20 party suckers, go get party suckers.
Nice.
We don't tell them, give them away.
Nice. So, Mr. Doe, stick a pin. I need to ask a question to the viewers. To the listening viewers, I mean, this question is for you, to anyone who asks this question. Answer this question to win a pumpkin. What is the name? No, I'm asking a question to the viewers. So the question is not for you to answer. Is the viewer to answer the question. The question is, what were the name of the cotton that was grown in St. Kitts Nevis at the time?
Cotton?
Yeah, not for you to answer. Don't give out the answer. I'm asking the viewers and listening audience a question. Because we're giving away stuff to the viewers and listening audience. But continue. You don't answer the question. But you continue. Yes.
Well, in Bastia, we had a place called the Hole, above West Farm. 14 acres.
Yes.
I established production of cucumbers, squash, watermelon, herbs, thyme, and those things up there. And 12 them along this and limes, citrus, 12 along this market, in the Bastia market.
But I'm trying
to get them, 12 lines in a bag for $1. For a plastic bag, put them in there, put the back of the tractor, send the tractor into town, sell them. When we got the bananas, we got so much bananas from the 15 acres that we send tractors around the country selling them $5 a bunch 250 for a half bunch. Right?
Mr.
And the people who are working in the tractors, carrying and selling, they got a commission. They normally work on the estate do extra thing, no. But when they do the thing over there, they got extra commission.
Mr. Doe.
Yes, sir.
You have to give me a chance. I have to go back to all these numbers you give me. You give me some 250 pounds of peanuts, some 15 acres of banana.
250,000 pounds of peanuts exported in one fell swoop. A boat came with from the Barbados Agricultural Development Corporation, which was processing peanuts. And we had peanuts here.
Yes.
And I might tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
When Carifta was established, before CARICOM,
yes,
they had up something called the Agricultural Marketing Protocol,
okay,
which identified 22 commodities which could be produced in the Caribbean region. And it was declared that once those things were available in the Caribbean, they had to be purchased in the Caribbean before you purchase from extraterritorial
nice
areas.
Okay.
And that's how they're processing peanuts, and here we got a lot of peanuts I tend to buy.
Yes.
50,000 pounds one time.
Mr. Doe, give me a chance, but I gotta get my thoughts together, cause I'm trying to get these numbers together, cause I'm trying to get the right now we're trying to push agriculture in the federation. We're to try to encourage to get up 20 acres of banana plant, in a sense like that. And you're telling me you have 15 acres of banana, 10 acres of lime. I mean, it's trying to show me now we have fallen way back half of what we were doing back then, because
1970, I talked about doing them things.
Yes, but in today's time, we're not even.
I don't know what they're doing, because we ain't got no way down there. Don't know.
Of course.
I don't know what's there.
But I know I can say right now there is no one person I know have an acre of just lime alone, citrus alone plant. No.
I always feel, you see,
yes,
that agriculture is cultivating our things.
Yes.
And the things we eat more than anything else is food.
Definitely.
Okay?
Yeah. Let me
say
something, Mr. Doe.
In the agriculture, in Cairo and NACO under me, where they were being recruited, were not very happy with our arrangement.
Okay.
My arrangement was, I wanted people who were literate.
Yes.
So they must have English language or literature.
Of course.
Numerate, mathematics or principles or accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And at least one other science subject.
Okay.
And the reason for that was, we were going to send them for training to the diplomate schools of agriculture in Guyana,
nice,
Trinidad, and Jamaica.
Yes.
At our cost, because these are the people we want to impact the production.
Definitely.
When they come back and work for a period, and we see they got promise, we will send them to do a bachelor's degree in agriculture.
Nice. Very, very nice.
And if they did well and they come back and they work and do things on, we could think of doing further for them to get up to PhD, because as I told them, everybody we recruit in the thing bears the baton of the chief executive officer. They could rise up to the ranks and get to the top.
Definitely.
Okay?
Yes.
And that was the concept I had.
Okay.
But nobody people who are coming out of school, they want to go do BA and BSc and so on, and they didn't want to tip their hand and what and so on. And the other thing that it didn't enable some people to come into the agriculture thing was, when you came, you had a 6-month probation. Afterwards, you could decide whether you're going to leave me or you're going to stay with me.
Yes.
The first month, I put you to work in the garages where they're changing tire, fixing engine and things inside to get dirty up, so you had to understand what's going on.
Yes.
The next month, I put you to work with fellas in the field so you could see what's going on and so how they cultivate and that kind of thing.
Yes.
When that finished, I put you to work in the office so you could see what papers and write up every week and things and so on and come back. And then we take you down in the central office. So you could see the structure of the organization, the ethos of the organization,
Yes.
and where you fit in. If that time, I sent you also to Bayford, where they had animals. I think it was in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So you could get a little acclimatization to animal difficulties and things like that. So you have a kind of good base when you go after the diploma school of agriculture.
Yes.
You go across completely new.
You get a feel of everything. You get a feel of the industry itself.
Agriculture.
Definitely.
And having done some things.
Yes.
But a lot of people didn't want to do it. But through that program, we produce about 6 or 8 people in BSc agriculture.
Nice.
Some of them in MSc agriculture.
Nice.
They're up in one somewhere up in Georgia, one up in New York,
Mm-hmm.
and so on. One went to work in the University of Virgin Islands, and so on. But some of them didn't come at all because they didn't want to them kind of thing. They wanted to write. And
Yes.
I tell them that's not the agriculture that I was involved in. Government borrowed $3,600,000 at 10%. And they had to pay it back after 3 years. And they had to try to find the money, generate the money to give back the money. So I set out to try to do that.
Mr. Doe, 1 minute there. We want to get the. We had a winner for the pumpkin, Livy L. Brown. That was she said the Sea Island cotton. So that was the answer for what was the cotton at the time. So the next question is for a next bunch of banana. I'll start the question now, and then when we reach close to 9, they ask the last question for the Marby. The next question is what were the name of the 2 boats coming from Canada to do trade with us? No, not for you. Don't answer the question. not for you. I want the viewers and listening audience answer the question, not for you. So the question for the viewers and listening audience: what were the 2 names of the boat that we used to trade with? Continue, Mr. Doe. Continue.
So my idea always was that this is a tropical island. St. Kitts and Nevis is a tropical island.
Definitely.
And any tropical fruit or vegetable
Yes.
could be grown here if you find the microclimate and so on.
Definitely.
And I began to do some investigation. I was on to nutmeg to be done over by Keon and black pepper to be done over by Keon.
Really?
Yeah.
Black pepper, nutmeg.
Yeah.
But
they grow them all about the place in the Caribbean where they can't grow here.
that's true. Very true.
Why some half rotten Dominican bananas must come down in the waterfront? But you could grow bananas here. Plant 800 plants over an acre.
Mr. Doe, the question: all those coffee that was grown, what was done with the material?
Where that we grew?
Yeah.
We sell them.
Where?
People come from St. Martin, St. Thomas, Sabre Station. The people is coming from Nevis to buy to carry up to Nevis.
So we used to drink a lot of
People
coffee.
buy them in the market here, buy them all around the country, go on the estates and buy. People eat food here.
Yeah, but I didn't know we used to grow so much coffee. And
Right. Let me tell you another thing.
yes.
Onions.
Uh-huh.
I checked out and found that we imported 480,000 pounds of onions per annum then. 40,000 pounds a month. I checked around, tried to see if I could find onions which could grow in St. Kitts. And I got something called the Texas Early Grano out of Mexico. And we started growing the onions here. And when our onions started to produce, we didn't import onions for about 4 to 6 months. When our onions came at the market.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Dua. One question.
Yeah.
Out of every acre, how much onion used to get out of each acre?
Huh?
How much onion was produced out of each acre?
Boy, I can't remember exactly, but I could tell you what started me on this.
Yes.
There were some people in Barbados called Williams
Okay.
who had put onion thing, which were doing 24,000 pounds per acre.
Really?
Yes.
Because really, an acre of onion, you're supposed to get between at least 30 to 40,000 pounds. But if you're getting 24,000 pounds, you're doing good still. Which means
Exactly.
you're very correct. Now, when producing onion, you can't even
Yeah.
get 10,000 pounds of onion. So which
Yeah.
means
And people start to use them because we sell them cheaper and they're being imported. People want to season up the food.
so what I'm trying to understand, what practices, what was doing then to get those kind of weight of onion, that what we're doing now, 'cause at least we're obviously doing something wrong.
Well, what I do is
Yes.
check to find out who sells seeds, write to them, find out what seeds they got, get samples, just get the agronomist here to put them on, test them to find out
Trials.
if they grow in the place and so on, and then bring them in quantity and fix up with it.
So you did trial test then? You did trial test?
Yeah, the trial test with some of them.
Company-
The agronomy department, put your gardens to work.
Mr. Doe, gonna have to get you back out of retirement, bring you along to work, give me some ideas and, because you have all the right answers them right here. Because somehow we seem like we're going backwards when it
You
comes
see
to...
what happened to us, right?
Yes.
I believe right now, we try to reinvent the wheel.
True. I agree with you that.
Now, when I was a small boy and bat playing in what we call over bat
Yes.
in Nevis,
Yes.
my grandmother had 3 big pomegranate trees in her yard. And several people along the road, they had pomegranate trees in their yard. Nowadays, you can't find pomegranates unless they come from California.
Got you.
Or you can't find pawpaws unless they come from Guatemala. Or pigeon peas unless they come from Peru
Yes.
and Chile.
Yes.
Well, all them things used to grow here, they could still grow.
So
I just got last time in my yard where I live.
yes.
But I tell you something I did. I checked around the country to get pigeon peas. And I got about 4 or 5 different places. And from one of the places, I got a pigeon pea, which had about 7, 8, 9 beans in a pot. Okay? I dumped the rest, and I plant them.
Okay.
And I got about 10, 12, 15 trees in my yard now. A very good peas.
Really?
Dry and green. I will eat peas.
Yes.
I give some to people in Nevis. I give some to people in the water club in Sinkit. I give to some other people. Because when they dry, I take them and dry them, put them in a bag pan in there. Somebody want peas, I give them peas to go share. We are walking now to shell peas. We want to eat out of tin
True.
and plastic bag.
Yes, definitely. So the question to you, Mr. Doe,
Yeah.
what went wrong with the agricultural sector? Were we to move out of the agricultural sector and went into a new era? What are we doing? What are we doing wrong? So what need to get back agriculture to the top? What
Well,
in
I'll
your
tell
opinion? Yes, that's before you go to that. Let me ask. For those who remember, the question is, what are the 2 boats that used to come from Canada to trade with us here and bring food here and take back our food and vegetables back to Canada? So not for you, Mr. Doe, to answer. Because I know your head is very light. Your head lighter than all of us who are listening to this show for 95 years old. So continue. Well, somebody calling with the answer.
Yeah. No. I'm saying
Yes.
that these things which can be grown here, I don't see why we ain't grow them.
Are the interest is not there for agriculture anymore?
Well, I don't know if the directorate or whatever.
Yes,
A lot of those things happen in Naco and Sayo because of me.
I understand.
Every one of those initiatives was something which I pushed.
I understand.
I doubt if there's going on now.
But all these estates...
I wonder what happened to the coffee. I wonder what happened to them 50 acres of food crops on the place. I hear at one point they used to sell some of the peas to Sabre and Stacia and so on. Why not?
Wait.
But,
You said,
I don't know.
You said 50 acres of food crop. Wait a minute, avocado trees and stuff, what you mean?
10 acres of avocados.
10 acres of avocado?
10 acres of Julie mangoes. 10 acres of grapefruit. 10 acres of orange.
What about shaddock? Any shaddock?
10, what?
Shaddock. You know about shaddock? What about shaddock?
I've tried to get a shaddock plant. I tried to get a shaddock plant for the longest while. All the shaddock I used to know were up in Haynesland, above Kodak Road.
Wait.
They think it.
Wait.
In Nevis.
You say we have to back up. Haynesland in Kodak. Where's Haynesland in Kodak Road?
Above Kodak Road going up to the mountain.
But Canada? That's Canada they call up the Canada?
Huh?
They used to call up the Canada? That's to the top of Kodak Road up in the bush, up in the hillside they call it.
I used to see them call them Caneland, and that mango garden up there, which was flowery garden, and so on. The shaddock used to be up there. And I tried for the longest while to see if I could find a shaddock plant.
Where? No.
Anywhere.
Yes, I understand, yes.
You see any anywhere up near it?
And about three different trees in 3 different areas.
Shaddock trees?
Yes, enough 3 of them.
All right.
Yes.
See if you could get shaddock for me.
That's not a problem. I can definitely do that. I can get you.
And give them to my nephew.
Who is that? Zumba, you mean?
Yeah.
No problem. That can be worked
And
out.
he will send them down to me.
No problem.
Because shaddock is a thing. I don't remember seeing shaddock nowhere else.
Yes.
But in Nevis.
Yes, I know 3 areas where there's 3 shaddock tree. I mean, I think I have some seeds.
And what I will do
Yes.
is I will get some seeds from shaddock.
Yes.
And generate some plants and give it to some fellas in Rotary and so on, so they could spread them around trinkets.
Definitely. I can work on that. But I think I saw some seed in
You see, we do a lot of lip service
Definitely.
and writing pen service to agriculture. And that's not agriculture, you know.
Yes.
That's writing and talking about agriculture.
You see, you have the passion for
Agriculture
agriculture.
is the production of things.
Yes.
For example, when I was in the Ministry of Agriculture,
Uh-huh.
and I looked at the production of sweet potatoes, I saw that in North and South Carolina, they were producing potatoes, and all like big 50 and 500 acre plots,
Yes.
farms, right?
Mm-hmm.
I got them to send a fellow called Clark from Nevis originally, where he had pop into agriculture,
Yes.
up to the States for 6 months to see what's going on in the business up there, and come back down and think Clark now working on his own. I think he's doing some production, and I don't even know, but I think he's bright to sell things downtown, vegetables and stuff downtown.
Oh, the gentleman still alive, you mean?
But you see, when I planted my peanuts, I soon realized that problems would occur in the planting of the peanuts and the harvesting of the peanuts.
Okay.
And I got in touch with the Ford Foundation and asked them to underwrite 2 months in the United States for 2 workers in my corporation. 1 an agriculture and engineer, and 1 an agronomist.
Mm-hmm.
To go to Florida and Louisiana and see how they do the production and so on, that the Department of Agriculture or the university and so on.
Yes.
One of the fellows had now retired, the agriculture, and he gone state to live.
Mm-hmm.
But one fellow is still here, Conrad Kelly. Conrad
Oh.
Kelly got 6 months.
I know
2
Mr.
months
Conrad
up there.
Kelly. That's my good friend. I know Mr. Conrad Kelly. I did a couple workshops with him.
You know him?
Of course, very nice gentleman. My very
The
good buddy
Conrad
there.
went up there for 2 months.
Really?
Yeah, sure.
I gotta get in contact with him, and that's my good buddy there. Very, very nice
Not
gentleman.
good,
Love
because
to teach
this up
everything.
there, they were planting peanuts 8 rows at one time from a tractor.
Nice.
You drill the hole, put in the peanut, put down some herbicide, put down some insecticide, put down some fertilizer, put down some water, and they do 8-10 acres a day. That's it. When they come for harvesting, they go in with the moldboard plow, dig up the stuff, turn them over, they leave them there for 24 to 48
Listen,
hours.
you're
Then
too
we will go
fast.
and pull out the nuts and so on, and we dry them and sort them.
They plant 10 acres, 8 to 10 acres of peanuts a day.
Yeah,
Well, how much people so? What do you mean a day? A tractor or people? Which one?
tractor, on the back of a tractor.
Okay.
And that is part of the information these fellows brought back from the States.
Oh, the implement.
Yeah.
Which, nice. You're really doing things, man. You're really doing
Nobody
things.
planting that thing now.
That's
So
no.
that information is going to waste. So my can plant some little thing, must say an 8 or an acre, and then sell you some peanuts for $10. and so you feel that that's the one thing to me. You know?
So it's hard to fathom that, I mean, in those times, I mean, agriculture, well, I guess you have a big part to play with it because you really had that interest and really wanted to push, I mean, the people to make money at the same time.
I wanted several things.
Yes.
I want the people in the place to have food, nutritious food to eat.
Nice.
And I want them to get some work producing the food so they could get some money.
Very good.
And I think we did in NACO was we sold any produce which we garnered from our production levels at, I think it's a 5 or 10% below the wholesale price to the workers.
Wow, nice.
So some people used to buy and carry the market to sell and make money.
Yes. Improve their lives.
That's doing me, make some money and make a little better and have a little better life. I'm glad for them.
That's the whole point. That's what I'm talking about. So, Mr. Doe, the question is, if I have my magic wand here in my hand, and I'm waving it, and I have my magic wand, so I'm giving you the one wish to give you, so in this split second now, you will be in charge, you will be the head of agriculture. What would you do? What would you put in place to get agriculture at the top with my magic wand? What would you put in place?
When I did what I did, right?
Yes.
I went to rock bottom and collected information.
Got you.
That will have to be done.
I got you.
Know what's there. Know how it's being produced. Know if whether it's being economically done or not. Whether the varieties being used are good varieties or not.
Yes.
If that's search out for varieties, that's it for people need to do and have basis. And having done that, you get what I used to call a technical pack, which tells you how to lay out the land, how to cultivate it, how to plant, how to care for the crops, how to harvest the crops, post-harvest operation, and so on.
You have a full manual. You have a full manual of the
idea.
crop. A full manual of the crop from start to beginning. Land preparation, post-harvest, everything.
Yeah. But nobody doing that. I can't say that. I don't know. Maybe they're doing it.
Continue.
But
so what?
That's what I used to do.
Yes. And what else would you put in place? Because this is just what you're saying here makes sense, plenty sense.
One other thing, which I believe we have not used effectively,
yes,
is to get some of these wealthy countries to help us in agriculture. Not by giving us multi-billions of dollars.
Yes.
By giving us some equipment. By giving us some training.
Yes.
By giving us some information and things like that. I mean, I used to try to contact anybody I could contact. I mean, for example, I planted white potatoes. You know, I did that. I contacted the Israeli Department of Agriculture and asked them to tell me how to do things and stuff and that. And to suggest cultivars which could be used and the type of land we had and so. That's how you do it.
Wow.
You can't go reinvent the wheel. I can't look at the first part, where it is kind of peanuts and try them out now to find out which one might work or which mightn't work. What I did was, I sent to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, told them, send them samples of the soil in St. Kitts.
Okay.
Told them about the rainfall, those kind of concomitant conditions. I'd asked them to recommend 2 or 3 varieties which would work well in these circumstances.
Yes.
And when they send me 5 pounds of the nuts, and they send them down, I borrowed Rudolph Wilkins from the Department of Agriculture and set out 3 separate areas: high rainfall, low rainfall, middle rainfall, sandy soil, clay soil, and to plant up with a half acre, or whatever it is, and so on, and harvest and put the data together and analyze it and work out my thing about which ones I can grow. And I think I settled on 2, one called Spanish Red and North Carolina 2, and planted them. Me know about all the West difference and when they were going to Nigeria and Ghana and Egypt. So me want to know them. Why know them? These people who know the crops say these cake will grow well here. We try them out in the area and they grow well. So we grow them. You see what I mean?
I understand what you mean. So you
It
did
was
it.
the same thing with the onions.
Yes.
I work out the onions growing in the temperate country can't be the same thing onions growing in the tropics.
Yes.
So I started to ask all kind of questions. Me and our agronomist.
I understand.
But I
Definitely.
started to ask all kind of questions. And people tell me that they are tropicalized seeds. So I asked them where they produce.
Yes.
And they tell me, I think not so much from Dominican Republic. Alerted me to Mexico. And I remember the thing called the Texas Early Grano. And that was just 50 years ago, you know.
Wow.
And since then, me had nothing to do with onion. Because they turned me away since 1980. So I have useless, go home.
1980. We just.
1980, I was fired, yeah.
I just 3 years old. So you understand I don't have a clue you're talking about with all these things.
Yeah. 1980, I was fired, released from my...
Okay, so Mr. Duo, in this I mean, you're with us now to see. I mean, I'm not sure if you ever think that this world would ever had lockdown before in your time. So, how you encourage people? I mean, to get involved in agriculture. Now you're seeing this kind of stuff happening over here and continue how the world is, the condition the world is in. What will be your encouragement to encourage people to get
Look,
involved?
no, man, everybody got to eat.
That is simple. That's an easy one.
And a lot of people in St. Kitts and Nevis don't spend half of the time walking.
True.
They could dig up in the yard, plant two things.
But is a stigma towards
I can't
agriculture?
walk now to go from that.
Yes.
Boy, you know what I got today? A man support.
Where you get man support from already?
Eh?
Man support ain't in yet.
Well, I got a man support today from
Yeah.
somebody.
Okay.
And I done cut off the thing and got the seed there.
Nice.
I ready to give a fellow who just come in the yard here for me to plant it.
That's very good.
Right now, I trying to get a bread nut from somebody.
A tree?
Organized. Yeah, bread nut plant.
Go get your bread nut tree, man. That minor thing. May I get you that? That would be
Well,
my
after
gift.
that time, you can get me a bread nut plant.
Somebody gonna get you one?
But I'm telling you,
Yes.
me,
Mhm.
all, when I plant them, they ain't going to eat them.
I understand what you mean, but you're doing your part still.
There are a lot of people are doing that.
Yes, yes.
We have a responsibility, all of us, to provide the food that we eat.
Yes. Definitely. Because many of us eating food that half of trees that we never planted, where people planted the same way. So we have a part to do the same thing. It is said if a man
Yeah.
planted breadfruit tree, he's gonna feed a generation for the next. He's gonna feed 3 to 4 different generations, but just by planting five
But, you know,
breadfruit tree.
after Hurricane Hugo,
Yes.
well, a lot of the breadfruit trees are now really up in the I made a suggestion to people who are discussing what they should do. That they get cultivars, 10 cultivars
Yes.
from the South Sea Islands and bring them into St. Kitts and Nevis and establish them in the Department of Agriculture, multiply them up, give them away to people all around the country.
Definitely.
Let them didn't see that necessary.
That's a big miss.
I suggested to them that one of the things that they should get for assistance
Yes.
was a tree surgeon, a man who know how to prune and get back your mango and all them things that were beaten up by the hurricane and the other. Nothing up more with that.
Seem like
One of the reasons why we have so much monkey down in town now and so on
Mhm.
is because what the monkey used to eat up in the mountain ain't there again, you know.
which was what?
Oh, mango and things and all.
So that's what the monkey. So you tell him there was monkey problem way back in the 30s or 40s. I mean.
I had monkey pop, yes. I had monkey pop in Nako. They used to dig in. And I had 10 gunmen. 10 or 12. I had 12 subdivisions. I had a gunman in each area. And the gunman was paid out, that's wise. You shoot a monkey,
Mm-hmm.
bring the tail in, and you get $25.
What year was that?
1970s.
That's how long this thing going on?
Before that,
Really?
sure.
I thought this is a new initiative.
There's a new crop. There's a new thing. This is going on a long time.
But it make it seem it's a
In
new
my yard
thing.
here, sometimes I see 8, I got only got 1 acre land. Sometimes 8, 10 monkeys in my yard.
I got
I
you.
can't plant cucumber. I can't plant cabbage. But they even eat lemongrass.
Yeah, they eat all kind of stuff. So you're
They
telling
eat
me
everything they eat.
back in this.
They eat breadfruit. The breadfruit tree.
So back,
Mango.
yes, Mr. Doe, what I'm trying to understand with the monkey issue that was going on then, it was controlled then.
Sure.
Wow.
It's a pest. And we see this as a problem.
All right. We see.
Impacting our production of sugarcane.
Yes. Give me a minute there, Mr.
And we
Doe.
took action to deal with that. We don't deal with nobody else.
Yes.
We took the action on what it had to do. Reduce the population of monkey. So shoot them. Put a gunman on each of the 12 subdivisions. And when you shoot a monkey come in, they get $25.
And that's since in the 70s? That's hard to believe. I didn't know this program was running from so long. But we have a winner.
Last time I had this thing going on.
Mr. Doe, give me a minute. But we have a winner for the next bunch of banana. Birdman label. So I'm not sure Birdman is somewhere up in New York. I guess Birdman, you'd have to say who you want to give this bunch of banana to. So the next question for Backlove Marby. Oh, so you want to show the question? Answer a question for what Mr. Doe been talking about? Is what you want to ask? You remember anything that they asked about? It's just. All right, so ask a question to the viewers, listening audience. There will be a Backlove Marby.
The Battle of Marvin is something quite recent and something that really struck me is
Well, they had Marby trees in Singing.
No, wait, Mr. Doe, asking a question to the viewers.
the viewers out there. I want
Yes.
you to come back and tell me how much acres of Julie Mango, how much acres of orange, and how much acres of coffee that was planted back then.
All right, good. Okay, Mr. Doe, continue.
Yeah, you see, the emphasis on agriculture is production,
I love that. Production.
right?
Yes,
I mean, you can't do agriculture without getting dirty.
true.
If you got PhD,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be advising people how to operate and get bigger production from the area. Because look, we used to get 2,000 pounds of peanuts per acre. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
2,000 pounds of saleable nuts.
Per acre.
They had some sucky nuts and things like that. We give them to people that feed their pig.
Yes.
Okay? But it's about 2,000 pounds of saleable nuts. Then we had some nuts we choose to bust off and leave in the ground. When you harvest, really plow. And we employ people to go and dig them up and so and glean and get them. But when we look at the business, the money, the lights, couldn't pay for the lights for the dance.
Yes,
They
yes,
dig
yes.
up something, some nuts, and we pay them $15, $20, they get $6 a nut. So what do you think we do? Tell them, take them.
I got you. Yes.
So everybody going and dig up nuts and things like that. I had a famous case of a magistrate coming to me telling me that he don't want to get locked up for syrup nuts.
Yes.
And a woman give him a 35-pound bag of nuts.
And those are they were left back in the field.
Yeah. Yeah, but he didn't know how she could get these nuts. You are nice to take them. No, she don't take them. We harvest nuts. And about 5% of the nuts left in the ground in the field. If they stay there, they're going to germinate. We're going to have to go and kill them as weeds.
I got you. So they take out all the material out of the field.
So we tell people, go, dig them, take them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you plant 600 acres of nuts, and you get 2,000 pounds of nuts,
Mr. Doe,
Wait.
Mr. Doe, you have to work with me. Sorry about that. Me can't keep. 600 acres of nuts. Which
Yeah, I
which
had
area?
600 acres of nuts.
Which area was that?
which year?
Which
Back in the
area?
70s,
Yeah, but
late 70s.
which area? I can't see 600 acres of nuts plant nowhere.
Yeah, what the hell you want place? Somewhere down at Buckley, somewhere up by Budrock. I had 25 acres of nuts up by Budrock. I had about 300 acres of nuts over by Molyneux and so on. All around the country. I got the British government to give 4 big aluminium structures
Yes.
at 64,000 pounds a structure
Silos.
to house my peanuts.
Wow.
I don't know what else is available. No, But the one that was done at Buckley's is still there.
Yes.
You see, they give you assistance for things like that. I point out to them that I don't want my nuts to get all kind of fungus and things and so. So I want them up, put out and dry and so, and harvest after harvesting and so. And they helped us. They gave us these four things. You see, you say you have to sit down and plan.
Yeah.
You plant, know what you're going to get, when you're going to get it, and make arrangements for people to know you have, so they could buy if they want from you. So all them things used to be going on in Syria and Naco all the time while I was there.
Mr. Doe, the question is, with all these tomatoes and watermelon and lime and grapefruit and avocados, was some of these exported too?
Boy, they need to export them things. People buy them if they're cheap enough.
I'd like to hear that.
We up at
like that.
up at the hole above West Arm, we had a lot of cucumbers. And when we harvested cucumbers, we get twice or three times a week. And we put them in the back of a tractor.
Yes.
And people had on the radio that cucumbers are available for a tractor east of the public market. 3 cucumbers for 25 cents. Tractor on the car before the cucumbers are.
Yes.
And then now you're coming back the next 2 days again. So all who never used to eat cucumber eat up plenty slices of cucumber now.
True. Okay, it's cheap.
That's right, yeah.
That's the
because really, cucumber is 95% water.
True.
You know what? Not $2 a pound.
So which mean we have a issue with the price when it comes to the food grown in the federation. Then that's your.
True. Because you see it, the expensive. Somebody tell me the sweet potato that grow here.
Yes.
Is more expensive than what they bring in from Guyana.
Definitely.
And the States.
Sometimes sell up to $8 a pound.
You see what I mean?
Sweet potatoes.
Sweet potato ain't worth them kind of money, man.
Yes.
Sweet potato worth like about $2-3. But you see, we never worked it out that way.
Cost of production.
What we did was made a plan, put down an operation, cost it, and work out a selling price.
Wow.
And we always, one reason why we did so much of crops was we used to get like $10 and $12 a ton for cane. And you get 25, 30 tons of cane to the acre, 40 tons.
Yes.
$400, $500. It takes 12 to 18 months to get that.
Yes.
If you get 2,000 pounds of peanuts.
True.
In 3 months.
Yes.
You could get 2 crops, 3 crops a year.
Definitely.
Twice the money you make in sugar cane.
So it's easier to go the peanut.
And what we used to do, what they used to help us, was we plant peanuts.
Yes.
And when we finish and clean up the ground and whatnot, the soil is still soft.
True. Yes.
It ain't half of the cultivation you would normally do to plant sugar cane. You will have to do then. So you save on the production. And not only that, the peanuts fix nitrogen in the soil.
Definitely, of course.
So you cut down your fertilizer.
True.
So cost of production of cane went down in some instances by all these little various things on the side, you know?
Yes.
We didn't set out to do it. But one came as a concomitant of another thing you had done. And you see, we were always on the alert of trying to find a little niche to make a little more money to pay off the bank debt.
Mr. Doe, what I see the difference going on from the conversation, this educational conversation that we've been having, and I think the viewers themselves, along with myself, realize that there were more strategic planning that was going on back then, 40, 50 years ago, than what's going on now. It's like we're just jumping around, choosing to do some. As you said, we're trying to invent the wheel, and the wheel is already.
Well, I tell you something. I tell you something else.
Yes.
I believe if you go now to the Department of Agriculture and Syndicates, You'll find so many reports on all kinds of things, aspects of cultivation and crops and so on up there for the packaging department.
But you're sitting down, but they're not, they're not being put into practice.
Well, that's what I really believe.
Yes.
I don't know it for a fact because I've been there, I've seen them.
I understand.
But I know so many inquiries have been done into so many different things. So much advice has been sought.
Yeah, but Mr. Doe, what is strengthening is that now we have so more people into the agricultural sector with more degrees, more masters, more PhD, more bachelors, but we're failing. We're really failing big time.
I'm going to give you a big joke now.
Yes.
Right? It's a joke, but it's a serious joke. Once I went down to Guyana.
Yes.
On a sugar conference.
She look like a you.
And a friend of mine who was the professor of agriculture and farm management at St. Augustine in Trinidad. So when he is glad to see me.
Okay.
Because they're discussing peanuts and peanut production in India.
Yes.
And here we got good production on St. Kitts. Could I give them half an hour and stuff? I told him I can't just do so because they expect me at my sugar place. But when I alert them, I get back in touch with you and so on.
Yes.
The following morning, I spent half an hour. Remember, we went to Guyana for that. I went for sugar.
Yes.
But I got up and I talked to them and I tell them how we started peanuts and what we did and what we accomplished and what I had done over what kind of period. And they asked a number of questions and I answered to the best of my ability. And one of the fellows get a bastard, then to give him what I said. I don't know what I must say. If I must thank the doctor or something. I said, no, doctor. Just really do. He went to primary school.
Yes.
He became a teacher and so on, and he go work around and whatnot, and he read and so on, pick up some ideas and do some work. But he working.
Definitely.
All right.
Mr. Doe?
The next thing that happens is the Caribbean Agricultural Economic. I tell you, it's a serious joke, you know.
Yeah, I'm listening.
The Caribbean Agricultural Economic Society tell me that I should join the society.
Really?
All kind of people here with PhD, MSc, BSc, so me, I not see nothing. Okay? So they came to Antigua the next year for a meeting. And the fellow called me from Antigua, tell me, they got the passage for me to come to Antigua, the boarding lodge for me in Antigua, and they joined me up as a member. But when I got to Antigua, I discovered that they were trying to find projects to do in the region.
Yes.
And I thought...
Hello, you there? Okay. Hello? Okay, we're going to get back in contact with Mr. Doe, but in the meanwhile, Nina Simone have won the Mabi. So, Nina Simone, I mean, you get in contact with me, and I'll definitely make sure you get your Mabi. My number 662-7196. So, all the winners can get in contact with me. My number 662-7196. Yes, Mr. Doe.
When they come for election officers,
yes,
a fella came to me and tell me, he said, boy, we want you to be president, you know. I said, not me. I is supporting Lloyd Rankin. I nominate Lloyd Rankin for presidency.
Yes.
So, out of that.
I
feel like I get raped. Somebody nominate me as vice president.
Really?
Caribbean Agricultural Economic Society. This is about 1978, 79, 80. You were wrong about it. Well, 78, 79. And only me one was vice president, nominated for vice president.
Yes.
So I became vice president of the Caribbean Agricultural Economic Society.
Wow.
Well, one idea. I say, what you all going to do, I go back to kids and I can talk to the government. And I'm going to get you all a project that you go to Ford Foundation to get $250,000 to do. Look at the agriculture in St. Kitts Nevis.
Yes.
and write up a prescription for the next 10, 15 years.
Wow. That's a plan. 10, 15 years plan.
Yeah. So I passed back in the first, so yeah, man, and Port Foundation finance them. The fellow man down here for 3 months, go all around, go need some tickets and so on. They write up a stuff. And they got 100 copies of that report
Wow.
and gave it to the government. Okay?
Yes. Mr. Doe,
I don't know if anybody do anything about that.
Mr. Doe, I'm telling you, I mean, 2 hours have went so fast, it ain't even funny. I mean, definitely it's been an honor, and I'm sure the listening audience and the viewers, I mean, have been overwhelmed, and the information have been coming in, how young you sound, how articulate you are. I mean, the whole listening audience and viewers is amazed with you're walking encyclopedia, you understand, a museum. So Mr. Blanchard will definitely got to write a book and put
You
Mr.
you want to realize this.
Yes.
I ain't have no paper, you know.
That's fine. Jesus not the papers neither. That's fine.
I'm
Jesus.
talking to you out of my head.
I understand. I understand that.
Right?
Yes. But
Okay.
what I'm saying, the next, I definitely would like to do another interview with you. But this time I'll have to get it on a Zoom where the viewers can see you. You understand? And who you are. So
Well, I don't have any problem with that.
yes. So
Any group which interested in collecting any information which I have collected,
definitely. So
I don't mind giving it.
I'll definitely keep in contact with you. But I mean, it's been a pleasure. I mean, doing this interview with you and Mr. Blanchard.
But,
I
but
mean,
the big thing I want you and your listening people to know
yes.
is that you don't have to go to a big-time institution to
Yes.
collect all the information you want. There are a number of books and things around which got and you could collect.
Yes.
And when you get it, you must use it
Definitely.
in producing. Look at me, old,
Yes.
and I looking to get bread nut tree.
Exactly.
I'm looking to get wax apple to plant in my yard.
True.
I'm planting up peas in there. I'm
Yes.
giving people peas to plant.
Definitely.
What are you really going to do with me?
Definitely. Still doing the plant because you're trying to feed the generation that comes after.
Some people come here beg me peas at time, sure go pick.
Yes, definitely.
You know?
You have definitely been doing your part, and you definitely need to be a national hero. We need to have a statue of you over here on the island of Nevis, along with Mr. France. Also, you say, I mean, who should also be a national hero. So we have to do some campaign about these things.
Joseph Nathaniel France came singing to work when he was a teenager.
Yes. Wow, it's
He was
amazing.
messenger.
But Mr. Doe, I'll definitely keep in contact with you, and definitely if I have to come to Sinky to meet you one of these days, it's not a problem.
No problem.
I'll keep in
problem.
contact with Mr. Blanchard. Mr. Blanchard, are you there?
Yeah.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Mr. Blanchard, it's been amazing. I mean, I wish I can go on and on and on, but I definitely will come look for both you and take me to see Mr. Doe and continue the conversation and get him on a Zoom where the whole world can see this young gentleman who are full of so much wealth of knowledge, because I mean the amount of comments have been going on and asking, and the people are so amazed. I mean, and right now, I mean, I can say I don't have much mentor, but just speaking to Mr. Doe, I can say that he's gonna be one of my mentors. So I'll definitely come look for you. I'll get those shaddock seed that food that you want,
fine.
and the bread nut, and I'll definitely
Yeah,
come.
and look, while you're doing that,
Yes,
the Taiwanese were doing a thing called wax apple.
yes,
If you could find one for me.
the wax apple.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'll
Plant.
I got you. Definitely, I'll
And
get
don't
those.
give somebody.
Well, I'll bring. if they
You'll
give
bring
some
them
by,
in.
I'll
All
bring
right,
them to
sure.
you. I
So
don't have the
much
problem.
better.
I don't have the problem bringing them to you. 'Cause I definitely need to
Okay,
meet
man,
you
right.
in person.
I'll be glad.
You understand? And continue to sit
Yeah.
down with you and have some conversation. So,
Fine, good, man. Thank
Mr.
you very much,
Blanchard,
brother. Okay.
it's a privilege, and I'll keep in contact with you. All right.
A pleasure to talk and so on.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, man.
Yes.
All right, man. Take care.
Yes. Yes. And that was an interview. 2 hours run so fast. I mean, I feel like crying and all. But what do you think about this interview here?
Yo, just
You learn anything?
I learned so much, right?
Yeah?
You realize that, I mean, you're just absorbing information,
That's it.
and just to hear the passion
Yes.
in the voice, and the energy and the strength in the voice.
I haven't heard nobody who have retired, who have no PhD, or who have not this and not that, speak of this young gentleman with the passion. And he's still, the thing about it, he remind me of Jam Dem. I miss Jam Dem so much, because when Jam Dem will be in town below here, eating his mangoes. Tyson, come. Give me the mango seed, and I'm gonna plant it.
Plant that.
Cause Jam used to give me some of this story over in Case. But you see all the mango trees over there, I plant. And he'll tell me about Bellet and the credit union and all kind of stories. You understand? Jam them used to tell me, and he's not there, but those memories live on with me. So he and Mr. Doe say when he have the man's report and he's holding the seed to give somebody to plant, he made me smile.
You could imagine at 95 years old, right?
Young,
and still have that drive to plant.
That's the whole point of it.
I was just telling somebody the other day that because I'm eating fruits off of trees that people planted 3-4 generations before me. So I think the main reason why I choose to plant orchard and choose to plant fruit trees is because I think it's important that 4 or 5 generations after.
Of course, that's it. Your job have been done.
Your job have been done.
That's
so to see this gentleman now at 95 years old and still holding on to a Mansiport seed and understanding the value of a Mansiport.
And he's still asking for bread nuts.
Asking for fruit.
You understand?
Cheese.
And star apple and shut up on
What's
all these things.
stopping the rest of us from planting at least one fruit cheese?
As Mr. Doe said, you understand, the wheel, we're trying to invent the wheel, and what he did in those times is that strategic planning. He just not get up and just go do things. He did his research from the land preparation, the quality of seed. You understand? Everything was put in place, planned properly, and as he said, he don't have no training, but he was self-taught.
And you realize that he said he may not have the information, but he'll reach out to someone.
That's the whole point.
He'll read a book.
He called up to Israel. He'll call the U.S. government, agricultural government. Well, what are we doing here with all these? I mean, so-called degrees around. As he said, don't worry about who have papers. You understand? It's the love, and you see, what Mr. Doe wanted is to improve the lives of his people. You see? That is what he wanted to do. See his people grow, because the money they used to work for wasn't enough to sustain them to get healthy food to eat. So he makes sure go out the way and look for his people. We need people like this in position who want to see their people grow. And that is how you grow an economy and grow your people at the same time. Everybody's supposed to go together. Not one set moving up ahead and the next set is just being controlled. Mr. Doe is a beautiful person. Never met this gentleman here. Just listen to his voice. You cannot put an age and say this one is not. You can say, oh, he's in his 20s, whatever. He's young. I think he find the fountain of youth. His good deeds got him living.
I think it's that good deed and
his
that good energy
deeds,
and that love of people
love
and the love
for
of his people that sustained him all these years. Yeah.
And I give thanks, you understand, for the Creator for giving me that chance, to speak to a gentleman like this. I've got to look for Zumbai. I mean, I didn't know Zumbai have national heroes in his family. We need to have a monument of Mr. Doe at the bottom Aquatic Road. No, this is serious thing. You understand?
That really shows us that we really have to research who are really the real heroes out, because you have this gentleman, you listen to the wealth of information just pouring out of his brain.
Yes.
Could imagine that you have 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 10 of our people really digesting what he's saying. You could imagine where we could go forward with that information there.
But Carlos, viewers, it's been a beautiful evening. I'm not sure if you have learned enough, but definitely I'll have to get Mr. Doe back in the studio. But this time we'll do it Zoom so you can see who Mr. Doe is. Because I don't know how this gentleman look or anything like that. I just get in contact with Mr. Blanchett and he didn't hesitate. And here I am speaking to Mr. Doe with this wealth of information. I just said, this is what Everything Agriculture Show is all about. Educating anyone at the sound of my voice, wherever you're at in North America, in Africa, in Asia, is the same literature and same information that we need to survive on this planet. Once we want, you understand? It's just the other day that gone last week, the UN World Water Day, the importance of water, and without water we ain't gonna exist the same way. And agriculture is one that sector, and they was giving out some data about over 4 billion people who don't have clean sanitation areas, 2 billion people who don't have just a regular toilet to use, 2 billion people who not got clean drinking water. It's sad. You know what I'm saying? When I see water around here and all these rain, I'm going to say these streams in the river, over in Camps area, the mountain, the waterfall, water just running. Even when the rain fall and stuff like that, all those water could be trapped and used for agricultural purposes where we can have the clean water more for domestic use. We really, really don't have that interest in agriculture, how I see it. I mean, I could be wrong, and the viewers are there, you understand, to share their opinion the same way, because we're not doing enough. Because you can't tell me if I'm in the 30s up to the 70s, we're doing all this production of food. And now we seem like we just gone into giving away passport, because that's what we do, and just want to see the tourist boat then come back, and that's the only industry. The tourists don't come here to eat same way. You know what I'm saying? The only boat that didn't stop come here is the food boat. And that is so that we didn't have the interest into push agriculture forward. This is just an economic system where to benefit these big supermarkets. That's the interest that is there. Point blank. The interest is not the local farmers to grow, because you can't tell me if you can't bring the importation of what coming in the country. Because it's too much food coming in the country every month. Same thing, 2,000 pounds.
But then, I mean, Sablanche said it out there when you asked the question about, I mean, food. He said that people have to eat.
Yes.
Simple put.
No, I mean, I love Mr. Doe because he keep things simple. We don't have to invent the wheel.
You have to invent the wheel.
You understand? And I just look at my text here, and I mean, the PS of agriculture saying excellent show, which mean he love Mr. Doe.
Yeah.
And the information which is right. You understand? And that shows me, I mean, you don't know who is listening. You understand? And the world is listening. And Mr. Doe, I mean, the world receive your information, and they're very appreciative of what what the information you give up. I mean, I hear Carl some kind of 250,000 pounds of this, 50 acres. I mean,
Bankie,
crop production.
Me here say that me want 2 acres. Me want 2 acres. I want food. I want
No, but you don't know. Well, Mr. Doe got me hype. Right now, I got back to my 40 acres of my mule now. You understand? And Jeannie, you're in the house with me. That's how to call her name. But if you don't want the 40 acres, I want it, you know. If the mother don't want hers, I want it, you know. So I who don't want the 40 acres and them mule, I want mine, because you see what Mr. Doe been talking about here? I want to plant 10 acres of avocado too. 10 acres of grapefruit too. Or someone want to plant. This is what we've been talking about all the time. Nothing else, so we talk all the time. And the land full up, simple as that. This is what I'm talking about.
I mean, I saying 5 acres of breadfruit like it's something, and this one is talking about 10 acres of
That's
one
what
thing.
I'm talking about.
This is what we're talking about.
That's the reality. And as you said, he said since in Hugo time, he was giving them the interest to start plant, breadfruit. Because I remember a couple years ago, there was a program by FAO to plant, up to 400 acres of breadfruit for 5 years. We're going to plant 30. You see, that program on gone along the drain. As Mr. Doe said, there are agencies that push money to develop your agricultural system, but somehow money is moved from one place and moving to the next. And then right now, nothing going on. And we could have been producing breadfruit flour. So we're producing cassava flour. And these are complex, carbohydrates, full of nutrients, protein, vitamins, everything. Better than the white flour. And they're gluten-free. So which means many people can't use gluten because the protein mess with your intestines and stuff like that. So it shows we are definitely not. As it, what a movie name? We keep a good in Junior. Is Jeremy Maguire, right? Show me the money. Just look at the money. Look at the budget all the time. Show me the money. You will see where the money is really and the interest is really at. Agriculture always at the bottom. Always. Everything that goes towards tourism. You want anything with tourism? They will put everything into tourism because that is their interest. Because certain people in society benefiting most from that sector. I 100% believe we don't want to see our people rise up and get the poor people reach up to a top where they don't have to depend on certain people in society and they're keeping them down, because we can plant food. I see it every day. I go on the island, interact with all different sectors of people who into the agriculture, and that is why I created this show to showcase those who in the agro-processing part of it, from the raw material to the value-added part of it. And we have some beautiful, young, vibrant people, both male, female, and you see me bring is to them other facts. One of the teachers was in the show, Miss Gishard. Her students want to come on the show, you understand, to give their perspective, and I welcome that. So people are reaching out because the interest is there, and with their interest and the viewers and the listeners' interest, showing this kind of love, we can make a difference, because this COVID thing not going to wait soon, And as you realize, I see the people in our system have one set agenda. Go vaccinate. When they talk about eating healthy, they just quickly talk about poison your body. but nobody pushing the agriculture sector. We just want to open up the borders and bring it. I don't care about the plane. I don't know where to go, you know. So who want to go on plane, go on plane. I don't got nothing where to go.
Jungle me want go.
Straight jungle, because God is up in the hills where stay and plant food. You understand? I saw when I had, used to where I want 40 acres, fence the 40 acres, then I have my own community and bring in my brethren and sister family. And
plant up and feed up.
That's
and
the whole
live.
point.
Yeah.
Because you can't eat your money, and it was proven when the place was locked down. Bank can't
You
open.
had money in the bank. You
mean nothing.
You can't even go by the bank or stand up by the
Yet
door.
we still now wake up and see that interest. You understand? Yes, we have a lot of more people growing food, which is good. But we still don't have enough growing because we cannot. If I always say, unless we can cut 20 bunch of each type of banana daily, we not say nothing, and we can't even cut 20 bunch every day. Can't do it, and that is sad. 50 bunch, just one type of banana every day. So it means Mr. Duo have the ideal model that was going back then, and that's the way we need to reach back to. You understand? Folks, I want to thank you all for tuning in. Remember, Friday coming up is the AgroFest. Support, the local vendors, the fisher folks who are going to be there, because, as I said, the marine department will be there also. Your local nurseries, Tropical Blossom, hopefully Ada and others, I'll show them will be there. The abattoirs, I said, will be there. With all the different choice cuts and ground beef and patties, anything you want, your mutton, your beef, chicken, check Gary, just let him Bankie send you, and definitely all of you all will get your 15% discount from those products that you have there. You'll also get your fresh vegetables and stuff from, the marketing area. You'll have some farmers there also selling. You'll still have IUI and some other vendors who are selling fresh foods and stuff at the same time. You have a little entertainment, nothing too crazy, but just go support. At least boost the economy a little bit. I want to say the NEOC, just work with us. You understand? Don't put on the pressure and all this thing. You understand? Just work with us and we get out. It's been a year now, nothing keeping it. We just do it for one day, and it's from 7 to 10. Remember the date. Also, those who won last week, all the smoothies, just remember to check out KL Blends also. And all those, we're going to do it with these. We're going to next somebody, all these foods. Can we like to walk back with things, I
think we could do one more.
Yeah, man, show the question and see who win this thing. What question do you want to ask them?
You have a lot of information. Let me show.
Okay, he called some name of some other boats earlier. You ask the question. You find a question. You got a question, Owens, that you want to ask? Jeannie, you have a question?
Yeah, you remember he said that we had we said the molasses.
Oh, the name of the molasses? Wait.
No, but I just want him to tell me the two uses of the molasses when they got to Canada.
To Canada. All right, viewers, listeners, what were the two uses of the molasses that we used to ship from navies to Canada? What they used to use the molasses for? And then we're going to close out this show. And remember, next week is the end of the month, so we're going to go into the cannabis industry, where we're going to talk about the value-added products and stuff, because this is a serious part of the agricultural sector, which is the green, this is it, This is the green economy, and the train, do not toot toot. Train are moving, toot toot toot. Train anyway, no. Train are rolling, no. Toot 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 toot. But there's a pick up speed, so we better get aboard. Because once this train passing, it not turning back. But what I don't want to see is our leaders, our policy makers, get up and say, "Oh, we don't give out X amount of land." I want to have a caller here, boy.
Yeah, we got a caller, man.
Yes. Caller, good evening.
Hi, the answer for that, for the molasses, is for rum and the service fisherman diet when the fishing card.
Thank you so very much. Always speaking to.
This so like Rasta
I'm not going to give me, but I need whatever's on the table.
Lot of us need to eat.
Davis.
All right.
Give thanks
you win, definitely.
You win.
All right. Rasta Davis again.
I say I want everything on the table.
Definitely, Rasta Davis again in the house. So, definitely, I'll definitely reach out to you and get you your winners. And thanks for listening and thanks for calling in, definitely. All right?
Thank you.
All right. Yes. So, definitely, this 2 hours was too short to be dealing with Mr. Doe and Mr. Blanchett, and we definitely, Mr. Blanchett have done a great job by writing this book. I mean, the truth about
the book?
William Vatch, and I think you all need to get this book. It's a part of a history you need to have on your shelf, and this will go down from generation to your children. Because it's one thing I don't like is when we start to play politics when it comes to our history. You cannot play history when it comes to politics. And also in next month, also coming up in April, we also have Mr. Leonard Stapleton, who also have a book, you know what I mean, with memories and places and stuff like that. An ex-historian. So we have a lot of stuff coming in, you know what I mean, with different guests and so forth. So always tune in, never miss a show, because you don't know what I have in place, who the guest will be, and all these things. So remember, support the agricultural show coming up this Friday, and also start planting. Plant, even if it's one seed. Just simple as that. Plant what you like to eat, and believe me, you'll feel much better. Get out the house. You'll improve. I mean, your thinking pattern. If you're stressed in any way, and at the same time you'll be able to feed yourself, because as you realize, everybody pushing to get them to 80 to 70%. You understand, vaccination, and this is still a trial thing. Jenny, your lab, this is a serious thing, you know. Who want to take, you know, you understand, but you know, like, you know, into the thing there. You understand? Any place right now is better than earth, you know, with what's going on, you know. So I always ready to see Jesus, you know. You know what I'm saying? I always ready to see Jesus. I mean, I have an issue with that. Because anything that is better than here, I want to go there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have an issue with that. Because the rule of science, all living things must die. So if me get there before you, you know, me hold the gate to you, you know. So once me there hold the gate, a lot of people don't come there, you know. I mean, I let them in. You know what I mean? I let them in, so I'm be the gatekeeper. But anyway, it was a beautiful evening, and viewers, listeners, really appreciate the love you guys been showing to the show. And coming up next week, Tuesday, is Ganja Talk again. So be prepared. You know, we're gonna be in the house, but I got some tricks to coming up. Definitely be working on for next week, Tuesday. So tune in. Until, see you guys and talk to you guys later.
It's time we honor them in our calypsos. We take them for granted, their sterling contribution. So I come to give them their due recognition. To these ordinary heroes, to them I must tip me hat.